What a day here at the ballpark. Alek Manoah and Shohei Ohtani in front of a sellout crowd, thinking both about great moments from years gone by and what might be for this team this year.
Baseball at that time in 92 and 93, Toronto was the center of the baseball world.
Step up, we need a hero. We running out of time. We gotta find someone to set the clock back to zero. We headed straight for the iceberg at a fast clip, but you can save our ship. So step up, we need a hero. We running out of time. We gotta find someone to set the clock back to zero.
And now gets him on the inside corner, throws him for strike three.
We need a hero.
The pitching matchup, it doesn't always live up to the hype, but it did here today.
Yeah, this one did, certainly. We were all interested in seeing Ohtani and Manoah go toe-to-toe, and did they ever?
We need a hero.
Angels finally have somebody at third base, and first pitch drives him in. Luis Rengifo points to the Angels dugout. Fletcher scores 1-0 Angels.
And the Angels have beaten and shut out the Blue Jays for the second day in a row as they win today by a score of 2-0.
We need a hero.
It was wonderful to have people like Pat Borders and Joe Carter in the building yesterday, but none of them were allowed to hit against Shohei Ohtani. And so the current Blue Jays are still searching for their first run since Cavan Biggio scored in the 10th inning in Boston on Thursday. My, oh my, maybe that changes today here on Sportsnet. We are so glad that you've joined us today. I'm Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddall. Coming up on the show today, we will show you the journey made by the Blair brothers of Nova Scotia to Toronto to help find some peace given the tragedy they went through over 2 years ago. But first, as you probably know if you've been tuning in the last couple of days, this series has not gone as planned. Friday it was Reed Detmers and 4 relievers keeping the Blue Jays off the scoreboard. And then, of course, yesterday, as good as Alek Manoah was for the Blue Jays, Ohtani was fractionally better. And once again, the Blue Jays were shut out. So there's a guy going to the mound today for the Angels by the name of Tucker Davidson. Here is Joe to explain why this shouldn't be so easy.
It's just the 4th left-handed starting pitcher the Blue Jays have seen this month of August, and it hasn't gone exceptionally well. Now, they hit left-handed pitchers similarly in a similar manner that they do righties, but the left-handed starters give them issues. Why is that? Well, oftentimes left-handed relievers come in, probably 2 pitches, fastball, slider, hard type stuff. But starters offer a variety. They offer a 4-pitch mix, and he is going to offer a very similar mix that we saw from Detmers on Friday night in Game 1 of this series. 4 pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. We saw Detmers go to the slider a lot against these Blue Jays hitters. Does that ring a bell? Absolutely. We've seen it a lot against Blue Jays hitters all season. He'll go with the changeup down and away from righties. They're going to have to find some sort of discipline to hit the pitches in the zone. There's another slider under the bat of George Springer. They'll freeze you up with the fastball. Not overpowering guys. They'll be in the low to mid 90s, but it's not much of a different look that they saw Friday. These Blue Jays hitters have to have some kind of approach. Well, they got to figure this out. You cannot keep having these types of pitchers beat you. And I think on a day like this is a guy very similar to what they saw from Detmers on Friday night. Find something in the zone. He'll throw a lot of sliders too, but the sliders hittable in the zone. They need to be very selective and do their damage there.
Normalcy has been restored to the Blue Jays lineup for the final game of this series, as just as yesterday, George Springer is leading off and in center field. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is back after a day off yesterday, and so too is Teoscar Hernandez. Remember, took a pitch off the foot on Friday, misplayed a ball, did not play at all yesterday, so you'll see those bats in the lineup against the lefty. And the Blue Jays need a victory to avoid a sweep. Let's take you down to the field right now. Hazel May is with Arden Swelling.
Jamie and Joe, thank you very much. As Jamie mentioned, George Springer will be making his 2nd straight start in center field since coming off the IL, dealing with that elbow injury. Yesterday, Springer recorded a hit in his return to the field. And yes, Teoscar Hernandez does return after suffering a contusion fouling that ball off his left foot. Now, if I'm manager John Schneider, Arden, this makes things a little easier when I'm penciling in the lineup.
Absolutely. Having Springer up top and not in the DH spot lets you get Alejandro Kirk into the lineup. Blue Jays going to need offense any way they can get it. Obviously, this means that George Springer, things went well for him in yesterday's game. Only had the one defensive opportunity. Didn't have to make any really high exertion throws. But the fact that he's back in there is definitely a good sign. And look, the Blue Jays need to score some runs here. Maybe start with one and go from there. And you look at what George Springer has done this month. He's only had 45 plate appearances, but he's got hits in 19 of them, Hazel.
Yeah.
He's been on base in over half of them. So he's a big-time impact on this lineup, as can be Kirk. It's the designated hitter. Not a ton of power this month, but 7 walks versus 8 strikeouts. He's finding ways to contribute.
Always contributing. Look at that OPS too, over 1,100. Now, Jackie Bradley Jr. was hitless yesterday, making the start in right field for Teoscar Hernandez. As I mentioned, didn't have a hit, but made an impact coming off the bench.
Yeah, tough assignment coming in against Shohei Ohtani of all people, but you look at the throw that he made to nab Ryan Aguilar at third base. That throw was measured at 91.2 miles per hour by StatCast. That is Ross Stripling's average fastball velocity, just by way of comparison. This is a bit of an underrated aspect of Jackie Bradley Jr.'s game. He's got a big outfield arm. You're seeing it here. He's going to get his opportunities down the stretch to play. Raimel Tapia's been in a real funk for the last month, so if George Springer, if Teoscar Hernandez need time off their feet, Jackie Bradley Jr. could draw in, and he's going to find ways to contribute.
Yeah, and we are not knocking Ross Stripling, by the way. In 12 starts since rejoining the rotation, Jamie, Stripling has a 2.14 ERA. That is 4th best among American League starters during that span. So let's hope he keeps that trend going, as the Blue Jays have not been swept here at Rogers Center since June of 2021, and they're hoping that continues as we go on the series finale with the LA Angels. Back to you.
Hazel, this is not the first time Stripling's been relied upon to stop a run of poor games. Junior Jays Sunday, I love the artwork here. And I love the effort even more. That's fantastic.
Masterpiece.
Yes, indeed. Stay with us as Blue Jays Central rolls on toward first pitch.
Watch games and coverage all day, every day, your way on MLB Network.
Wednesday to splitting a burger 3 ways, you belong at Boston Pizza, or those in the know patio. Here's what we know. We've come to expect the Blue Jays, as Joe mentioned, to struggle versus left-handed starters. Tucker Davidson is one, and he also won a World Series with Atlanta last year. Joe, we've also come to expect excellence from Ross Stripling. Tuesday in Boston, 6 innings of work, gave up just an earned run, so he might be the right guy to take the mound today.
Stripling's strength is being able to attack hitters in many different ways. He can attack their weaknesses because he's comfortable with all 4 of his pitches, and we see him do it different ways in different games. Couple of starts ago against the Orioles, we saw him use the changeup a little bit more. But his last start against the Red Sox, more of the fastball slider combination. So he can do a lot of different things. But what we also saw him do against the Red Sox is steal a lot of first pitch strikes with his fastball. He commands the zone very well. When you have hitters thinking about 4 pitches and how he might attack you, that fastball can play. And I say sneak because you can sneak ahead 0-1 in a count. When a pitcher gets ahead 0-1 in a count, you like your chances in that at bat. And you just see a lot of hitters that are sitting there and kind of thinking about the slider, thinking about the changeup more, that he's used a lot more this season. But those are all very effective pitches. He faced the Angels twice earlier this season. Remember, he got his first save of the season back in May. Came back the next day and pitched out of the bullpen. But a lot of off-speed pitches against the Angels in those 2 games out of the bullpen. This is before he was starting very much. It'll be interesting to see how they attack him, or how he attacks Angels hitters today. Are they looking more off speed, or are they looking for the fastball? He will attack each individual hitter's weakness.
Well, keep in mind as we look at the Angels lineup presented by Bet365 that Mike Trout hit a 2-run home run on Friday in a game already in hand, and he hit it off of Yusei Kikuchi. But beyond that, hasn't really done anything else in this series. I know he drew a walk yesterday, so that's frightening because you know he's good for a 3-for-4 at some point.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Sometime.
Let's send it over to the guys from SN Bets.
Thank you, Jamie. Anthony Bruno with Jesse Rubinov at the SN Bets Big Board presented by Bet365. When you face the Angels in the middle of a playoff race, Jesse, you're supposed to beat them.
That's right.
Not go 18 innings without scoring a run. The Blue Jays got to wake up and avoid the sweep today.
The Angels, 19 games under 500, but you wouldn't know it based on the way that they've silenced the Blue Jays bats through 2 games. Yet, despite what's gone down so far in the series, the Blue Jays remain significant favorites to win today at -250 AB.
The Orioles are looking to sweep the Astros today, sending Austin Voth to the mound against Justin Verlander. And I'm looking at the Nerfy. No runs in the first inning. Since getting claimed off waivers by Baltimore in June, Voth has a 2.85 ERA and has given up a first inning run just once in 11 starts, while Verlander has been amazing this season, currently the overwhelming favorite to win the AL Cy Young.
Verlander's been ridiculous. He's 39 years of age, and we go to a 38-year-old in Max Scherzer. Mad Max goes for his 200th career victory today against the Rockies. Scherzer's been a tad off as of late, 8 runs allowed in his last 2 starts. But today he gets a Rocky squad that's dropped 10 of its last 13. It's about time Scherzer rights the ship.
It's hard to get excited about Cincinnati playing Washington, but I'm sure the Reds are fired up to face Nationals lefty Patrick Corbin. He's been rocked for a 6.81 ERA this season and has given up the most home runs and lost the most games in all of baseball over the last 2 years. Washington has also scored the second fewest runs in the majors since the All-Star break.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, on the other hand, usually pile on the runs,
Yes.
AB. Not so far in this series. We'll see if they can turn it around today. Jamie, back to you.
Gentlemen, today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Sportsnet 1. What a finish in Oakland last night as the A's rallied and walked off the Yankees in the 10th inning. They'll play later today. Sportsnet 1 will join it in progress as the game ends here in Toronto. Up next, how the Blue Jays have helped assuage the grief of some boys from Nova Scotia.
Can't really say my father's a person that had a bucket list, but we were talking about it like even a few months before everything happened, that it was just our goal to all get down to a Jays game and take that experience in.
Aubrey Plaza, are you ready to swim?
Want all the
every time he takes the field. He competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
Blue Jays would prefer not to get swept by the Angels. Ross Stripling will do his best to ensure that doesn't happen. The atrocity that took place in Nova Scotia 2 years ago shook this country and left a sea of anguish among families there. This includes 4 brothers left without parents when Greg and Jamie Blair were killed. Before he died, Greg hatched the idea of bringing his family to Toronto to see the Blue Jays, given the boys' collective love of baseball. Last month, the journey was made. The Blairs fulfilled their father's wish. Here's their story. Hey, fellas.
How you guys doing, man?
This is Bo Bichette.
Doing all right?
This is Jack.
Nice to meet you, man.
That's Alexander. First time at a Jays game.
You guys enjoying it so far?
I love getting to experience new things with them and showing them there's a lot more to life than, you know, everything they went through.
We're actually out there. Let's go, Bichette!
I don't know, it's definitely going to mean a lot to me. Something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
It must be a haunting equation when suffering through tragedy, trying to find moments of enjoyment, moments of respite without the people you love. The Blair family lived in a remote area in Portapique, Nova Scotia, a small town on the Bay of Fundy. It is here the deadliest killing spree in Canadian history began on April 18th, 2020.
A man suspected of opening fire in a rural Nova Scotia community, leaving multiple victims behind him. Investigators say the 911 calls led them to a residence in Portapique.
Jamie and Greg Blair were home, enjoying the evening with their 2 youngest sons, Alex and Jack, when someone posing as RCMP approached the front porch. It was a familiar face, but it certainly wasn't an officer.
From what I'm told from the kids is when he pulled in, they heard Dad yell, "What the F are you doing with a gun?" But he just shot him point blank. And at that time, that's when Jamie turned around and ran into the house to get the kids to hide. And they ran down to my father's bedroom. She closed the door, stood against it. They hid behind the bed, and he just shot her through the door.
Jamie Blair, her husband Greg, both killed in the weekend violence, and their children now without both of their parents.
Alex, he's an extremely smart kid. He had his younger brother with him, and I feel it was just on his mind to keep him safe. 7-8 inches from where they're hiding, there's bullets flying through, and they stayed there until they knew he was out of the house. Alex hid Jack in a closet, ran out, he seen smoke. There's burning logs thrown on the floor of the shooter trying to burn the house down. So he immediately got Jack, and they ran at the house and they ran through the woods to the neighbors.
Alex, Jack, and two friends whose mother had also been killed hid for more than 2 hours, calling 911 with information about the man at the door.
I guess I kind of beat myself up that I wasn't there that night. Not that I could have changed much, but it's always run that question through my head, like maybe if I was there, something would have went different.
In an instant, life had changed for the 4 Blair boys.
I can feel a lot of voids in their life, I guess, but I can't really feel that father-mother relationship they would have, and basically all I can go off of is advice I get from other people. But yeah, 90% of it is just winging it.
Greg Blair loved watching sports with his sons. He grew up cheering for 2 teams, the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Blue Jays. That passion was shared with Tyler, Craig, Alex, and Jack.
Tell me who your favorite hockey team is and why.
Montreal Canadiens is because it's been passed on through my family for a long time.
Every time there's a Habs game on, we would all go in the living room and watch it, so no matter what time of night it was.
Jack, who's your favorite baseball team and why?
Blue Jays, because I guess I was technically forced into it by my dad again, so.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so we're pretty much forced into it.
Can't really say my father's a person that had a bucket list, but he had a lot of things we wanted to do. It was just, we were talking about it, like, even a few months before everything happened, that it was just our goal to all get down to a Jays game and take that experience in.
2 weeks after the massacre, I spoke with Tyler. He mentioned this dream.
He's just like, hey, Tyler's Jamie Campbell, Sportsnet, and the Blue Jays, and just asking, like, we're big Jays fans, and asked if we'd like to go down to a game, and honestly, I said yes.
I've never been to Toronto before, so I'm excited to go and watch the Jays game, go on the field, all that stuff.
It's gonna be pretty fun.
Latitudes prepare for takeoff.
Alex is the ball player in the family. He's reserved, but quietly confident. Jack, the youngest, is a ball of energy. The 2 of them, Tyler and Tyler's fiancée, Jade, are bound for Toronto.
I always look forward to experiencing these things with them. I can't wait to see how excited they are to walk into the Rogers Center. I think it's going to blow their minds.
Oh, here he comes.
So this is Jack Blair?
Jack?
Hi.
Danny.
Hi, Danny. Nice to meet you.
Danny. Who's your guys' favorite player?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett?
Yeah.
That's easy, huh?
I gotta get a picture.
I think they're a little shocked right now.
Are you like amazed right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember this for the rest of your life?
I'm trying to smile for once.
He never smiles with girls.
Of course, the one time I actually want to smile, I have a mask on.
And another nice night. The roof open as Manoah making his 18th start of the season. Driven to center field, high and deep. She's gone. What a rocket to center off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez.
You're gonna go up.
Where? What is it?
You don't know, Alex. We don't know. Jamie.
Come here, buddy.
What's going on?
I heard you guys are Montreal Canadiens fans.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Jake Evans.
Go on, man. Nice to meet you.
And Mike Rosetta from the Canadiens.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, dude.
This is Alexander, and this is Jack.
Your first game?
Yeah.
You guys got some more swag than we do.
We know you guys are big Habs fans too, so thought we'd give you guys
Some goodies in there, so look
gift
sharp when you
package.
come to your next
Thank you.
half game, too.
Yeah, we'll have to get you out to the Bell Center too. I know it's probably not us two, but who's your guys' favorite player?
You're my third.
Really?
top three.
Top 3.
Fourth.
I didn't even crack that. Top 5.
19?
He's top 5.
Oh, yeah. Fine. I'll take 5. I'll take the 5 spot.
By the way, nice to meet you guys, man. Have fun. Enjoy it.
Cool to meet you guys.
Really nice to meet you guys. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Bye, guys. That was awesome.
How do you measure a moment of escape? How do you process a weekend full of smiles? Given all they've lost, only the Blairs know. but a little laughter, an autograph, some cheers. Experiencing the trip your father had long planned, a dream he once held. Maybe that soothes some of the anguish.
That was awesome, getting to watch them meet some of their idols.
All my friends are Blue Jays fans, and most of my friends are Montreal fans, so I can completely brag about it.
This was like way above my expectations of what we were gonna do here.
More than anything, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, especially for them. It's just awesome.
Due to family commitments, Craig Blair, the second oldest, couldn't join his brothers in Toronto. There are many people that deserve thanks for making this happen. From the Blue Jays, John Griffin, Matthew Dexter, Shannon Curley, and Jack Lawrence. From Sportsnet, Lorraine Bradshaw, Craig Scott, and Anthony Attard. We're indebted to WestJet for providing flights and to Hotel X for housing the family. And finally, the documentation of this trip was produced by Paul Sidhu. It has been over 2 years, but there are people in Nova Scotia still suffering. And to all of you who are, know there are always hugs available here. Hope you enjoy the ball game today, folks. It's a beautiful day for one. As Ross Stripling takes on the Los Angeles Angels, the Blue Jays are hoping not to get swept. They'd like to score a run, too. Wouldn't that be fun? Stand by for first pitch. And thanks for watching Blue Jays Central.
Evan Longoria, a guy last year who was one of the catalysts to a surprising Giants team.
Meet Evan Longoria. He's watching MLB Network.
Back, dude. Longo's hitting with big-time power. Still that
because that's what baseball fans do.
Here we go, Longo, 2022.
Start your day the way we start ours.
Good morning.
With MLB Central on MLB Network.
Yes!
Holy moly!
Teeing up the day with news, stories, and special guests.
Blink twice if you're being held captive.
I almost didn't get in the building today, though.
A full day of baseball starts with MLB Central.
Watching this show is a great move.
That's my thought.
Weekday mornings only on MLB Network.
Let's go!
Or the best throwbacks.
So you're good at hitting home runs, right? I've never hit a home. Aubrey Plaza, are you ready to swing away? No. Here we go. It's like you're aiming at me or something. Yeah. Are we cool or? I told you this is the best day of my life. I have a lot of anger. 100 points! Numbers mean nothing to me! Is this a mic? Oh, nice. Well, not to laugh. Ow. You felt that? I did. So I am.
Presentation in association with the Toronto Blue Jays.
And now gets him on the inside corner. Throws him for strike 3.
We need a hero.
Pitching matchup. It doesn't always live up to the hype, but it did here today.
Yeah, this one did, certainly. We were all interested in seeing Ohtani and Manoah go toe-to-toe, and did they ever?
We need a hero.
Angels finally have somebody at third base, and first pitch drives him in. Luis Rengifo points to the Angels dugout. Fletcher scores 1-0 Angels.
And the Angels have beaten and shut out the Blue Jays for the second day in a row as they win today by a score of 2-0.
We need a hero.
All those warm feelings from a successful road trip could be washed away if the Blue Jays don't win a ball game today. They'll send Ross Stripling up against the Los Angeles Angels to call it for us. Dan Shulman and Pat Tabler are in the oh, pardon me, Pat. Buck Martinez, my mistake. Sorry, guys.
Jamie, for a guy who was not in the starting rotation at the beginning of the season, Ross Stripling has truly had an enormous impact on this team this year. And more often than not, Buck, when the Blue Jays have needed a win, are coming off a loss or two, they have turned to Stripling, and he's delivered.
Well, he sure has. And he's a guy that doesn't get a lot of attention, and he's certainly not a high-profile starter. But look what he's done after a Blue Jays loss, and that's the situation he's pitching in today. 10 starts, an ERA under 2. He's only walked 6, and he struck out 44. The thing about Ross Stripling is very interesting is he knows who he is. He knows he's not overpowering. He has to make quality pitches. This is his last start here at Rogers Center against Baltimore on the last homestand. He took a perfect game into the 7th. He mixed his pitches very well, and he's using his changeup a little more effectively than he has earlier in the season. And then he carried that right into Fenway Park, doing the same thing, hitting his spots, dropping the breaking ball over whenever he wants to. And Ross understands that he can't stand out there and blow fastballs by hitters. He has to set them up and make pitches. He is a very, very interesting guy for a catcher to catch because you can ask him to do just about anything.
Of course, the other piece of the puzzle is the offense has to get going. Hopefully that'll happen here this afternoon as the Blue Jays try to salvage the final game of this series with the Angels.
And Dan, hopefully I'll be able to figure out in the future who's in the broadcast booth every day. All right, time for a ball game. It's the Blue Jays and the Angels on a beautiful day here in Toronto.
Every time he steps up to the plate, goes into his windup, or runs one down.
He caught it! Oh, you won't see a better one than that!
He competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
Using the old baseball stats only gives you part of the puzzle. But when we challenge ourselves using advanced tools and modern thinking, you'll see the bigger picture.
Challenge all things baseball with MLB Now, only on MLB Network.
I love the Boys and Girls Clubs because they help you believe that you can make it to the big leagues.
Big leagues of what? Law. Art. Construction. Baseball.
How'd you guess?
With the help of Major League Baseball, the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
As the Blue Jays and Angels wrap up this 3-game series with the roof wide open. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May, Shohei Ohtani. After that brilliant performance on the mound yesterday, he is DHing and batting third again for the Angels today. Blue Jays have actually kind of held him in check at the plate so far in this series. As we check out Phil Nevin's lineup here in the final game of this series, the guy who's really been a problem is the guy at the top of the order, David Fletcher, 6 for 10 in this series. He's been off the IL about the last 3.5 weeks. He's hitting .340 during that time. Phil Nevin says he has given them a huge spark, not only with the bat, with his overall energy ever since he has come off the IL. Ross Stripling gets the call for the Blue Jays.
Stripling has been invaluable in his role as a starter since he took over for Hyunjin Ryu back in June. And the big thing about Ross is he will throw everything for strikes, and that's really a key for any starting pitcher. But he has the ability to throw 2 fastballs, a curveball, a cutter, and a great changeup anytime for a strike. And look at the control numbers. 80 strikeouts against just 16 walks. And his last start here at Rogers Center against the Baltimore Orioles, he took a perfect game into the 7th inning. Cedric Mullins hit a leadoff base hit in the center field to break up that. Take a look at the defense. It's important behind Ross Stripling because he's going to pitch to contact. Gurriel, Springer, and Hernandez. Tio's back in right field. Bichette and Merrifield up the middle. Chapman and Guerrero at the corners. Danny Jansen behind the plate, and Whit Merrifield making just his 5th start of the season at second base for the Blue Jays. But his 585th career start at second base. That's his primary position. When he played with the Kansas City Royals, he's at second base today in support of Ross Stripling.
He was just talking to Bo Bichette about the sun. It is bright this afternoon. As we are underway with a first pitch fastball in for a strike to David Fletcher in front of what is going to be another 40,000 plus crowd, it looks like, here at the ballpark. Fletcher with a fly ball to right center field. Who's there? George Springer is there. 1 down.
Yeah, the sun is really an issue for all of the defenders today. It's high above Rogers Center and a bright sunny day, and it's a little cloudy, a little hazy up there. So you look up there initially, and you really got to be focused on that baseball. Springer did a good job of running it down in the alley.
Great to see Springer out in center field 2 days in a row. Gives them more flexibility in the rest of the lineup. And Stripling retires the first batter he faces, and now Trout. Trout 1 for 8 with a home run in the series. He has struck out 4 times. He has, as the Blue Jays go into the 4 outfielder alignment. That's why we have a bit of a delay. Merrifield has gone out to right. Trout has big numbers against Stripling. 7 for 11. 3 homers. The vast majority of that was when Ross was still with the Dodgers. And Stripling is well aware. You saw that high fastball. Again, if there's a hole for Trout, it is the high fastball. He gets to this one, but it's a lazy fly ball to left and an easy play for Gurriel. 2 down.
You know, to be a successful pitcher in the major leagues, you have to be confident enough to pitch to contact. You just can't always try to avoid contact. And Ross Stripling understands if he puts the ball in play by changing the timing and disrupting the timing of the hitters, he can have a good outing. So he understands that he just can't try to pitch pinpoint control all the time, but he has to make quality pitches and change speeds effectively.
A couple of quick outs for Stripling here in the first, and here's Ohtani. And he lines one sharply into center. 4 outfielders out there for the Blue Jays against Ohtani as well. It's Hernandez who gets the ball back into the infield. That'll be a 2-out base hit.
Yeah, Ohtani's really special, not only because he can hit and pitch, but after he threw yesterday in the game, here he is batting third in the lineup. You know, most pitchers and most starters especially, they'll take a day or two just to get over the soreness, but here he is whacking on the first pitch he sees after he went 7 strong innings in last night's game. Pretty special athlete.
Having a good chat at first base with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. A 2-out base hit for the Angels, and here's the third baseman, Luis Rengifo. Blue Jays with the shift on as he takes a changeup just off the outside corner for ball 1. A switch hitter at 266 on the season, 300 over his last 55 games. You can see Blue Jay fielders from time to time looking up and kind of testing the sun, seeing where it is, how much of an issue it is. Chapman with a routine play onto Guerrero to get Rengifo, and Stripling gets his outs on only 7 pitches in the top of the first.
We don't make bedding like everyone else. We make it better. We prioritize thread quality, not thread count. We source the finest 100% organic cotton to make the softest, most luxurious fabrics on earth. We're free from toxins, the way home should be. Boll & Branch is made different, so you can sleep better at night. Experience the difference at bollandbranch.com.
George Springer and company hoping to change that. Springer in center and in his customary leadoff spot this afternoon as we take a look at John Schneider's lineup, and we feature Alejandro Kirk, who has gotten it going again. As you look at his numbers in recent games, over the last 10 games, .333, driving in some runs, taking some walks, 9 right-handed batters in the lineup today against the Angels left-hander Tucker Davidson.
Tucker Davidson was acquired from the Atlanta Braves on the 2nd of August at the trade deadline. And Raisel Iglesias going to Atlanta. Davidson and Jesse Chavez came to the Angels. This is his 4th start with the Angels. Last time out against Tampa Bay, 5 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits. He gave up a home run and walked 3, struck out 2. Not overpowering. Blue Jays are going to have to be patient and find out. This is the first time he has faced the Blue Jays.
And that's about the typical velocity on the fastball, 93. Slider, changeup, curveball, starting to throw more changeup. So we'll see if that's in play against this all right-hand hitting lineup. Fastball to Springer, popped up. And coming over the second baseman of Fletcher, 1 down.
Take a look at the defense for the Angels. Good speed in the outfield with Adele Trout and Aguilar from left to right. Left side of the infield, Luis Rengifo and Andrew Velasquez. Fletcher's the second baseman. Ford's at first, and Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Suzuki made his debut in 2007, and only Yadier Molina from that point forward has caught more games in the big leagues than Kurt Suzuki. And we point that out because he is going to try to navigate Davidson through this Blue Jays lineup. He's got a lot of experience, real solid catcher behind the plate, and he has had a terrific 16-season career.
A fastball in for a strike to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Hitting in the 2 spot as always, 282, 26 home runs. And another fastball, but just a little bit low, a ball and a strike. It'll be interesting to see, Buck, if and when the Blue Jays get some runners on base. They haven't had much going offensively, obviously. Do they try and push the envelope a little bit, whether it's steal a base, hit and run, whatever? Suzuki, for as long as he's been around, he does not throw well behind the plate, and obviously the Blue Jays have that info. And I wonder if John Schneider says, you know what, got to get something going.
You would think that would be the mindset today, given the fact that they have managed no runs on 8 hits in 2 games. Why not? Roll the dice. Start the runner. First of all, you got to get somebody on.
Only had 1 run of the last 6 innings yesterday, and that was on an error. A little bit extra on the fastball here against Vladdy from Davidson, up to 95-96.
Well, and you got to believe that the Angels are pretty confident in their game plan, the way they have pitched the Blue Jays in the first 2 games. Oscar Hernandez, remember, he got hit on that foot in the first game in his first at bat and left the game, so he's dealing with some new shoes, it looks like.
And a good slider there from Davidson freezes Guerrero for out number 2.
Well, the high fastball at 96 on the previous pitch, and then he starts that breaking ball off the plate away, and it's got a lot of break on it. Catches the inside half of the plate for strike 3. So a pop-up and a strikeout for Davidson to start this game. Good tilt on that breaking ball. And Suzuki receives it very effectively.
As you mentioned, it came over in a deadline deal from Atlanta. Spent just a little bit of time here and there over a couple of seasons with the Braves. As he starts Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with a strike. Lourdes didn't play yesterday, hitting .295 on the season. Down the right field line, but unable to keep it fair. Nice grab. Davidson had 2 stints with the Braves last year, then went on the 60-day IL with forearm inflammation. Did not pitch again in the regular season, but came back in the playoffs. And the Braves, remember, they were scrambling for pitching, had injuries. Charlie Morton had gotten hurt. He started Game 5 of the World Series against Houston, only went 2 innings, and it was a bullpen game. But people forget how much of a scramble mode the Braves were in on their way to winning the World Series.
Yeah, man, they had a tough season last year. Remember, they didn't get over 500 until late in the season, and then won the World Series, and they had a lot of different combinations in that postseason.
And a very good start for the young left-hander. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. Through an inning, no score.
Retired MLB pitcher CC Sabathia is old school. His son Karsten Sabathia is new school. Karsten uses Win Reality for his hitter training, a state-of-the-art tool that utilizes VR to improve timing, pitch recognition, and confidence. A new school approach to more hits. Hitters love it.
I love it.
Pitchers, however.
Man, I'm glad I'm retired.
Train new school. Hit old school. Be ready for real. Win Reality.
With Home Chef, your home cooking is home nailing it. Our classic all-in-one meal kits are simple enough for anyone and delicious enough for everyone. When it comes to making dinner, fill in the blanks with Home Chef. Delicious, meat simple.
Get 16 free meals when you sign up at homechef.com.
With the Game Time app, I paid 60% less than this guy. What? And it's not just sports tickets. It's also concerts. Performances, too.
Oh, earlier in the week, and it did not disappoint. The Alek Manoah-Shohei Ohtani head-to-head matchup came as advertised. Manoah went 7 strong innings, allowed just 2 earned runs with 8 strikeouts. Manager John Schneider had no doubt Manoah would step up to the occasion. He's always up for these big moments, he said. Manoah is up for it, but he's not too up for it, and that speaks volumes about him as a competitor. Ohtani, of course, brilliant. No runs over 7 stifling innings, but did pay homage to the pitcher he had to face in the box. I enjoyed it, but would like to avoid it if possible because he is a great pitcher, he said of Manoah. Now, mentally, Manoah said postgame, every outing to him is Game 7 of the World Series. It doesn't matter if Ohtani is on the mound or Roger Clemens, he said. My job is to compete and try to get us the win. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. A terrific outing for both of them, for Ohtani and for Manoah yesterday, as Mike Ford leads off the 2nd inning with a liner into left center. And he is aboard with a leadoff base hit. Ohtani certainly delivered on the hype from his end. And I don't know, Buck, that I know of another recent Blue Jays pitcher where guys on the other teams more often will come up to people like you and me and say, Boy, I love watching that guy pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot with Manoah. We've had several people during the course of the season say, hey, man, we enjoy watching him pitch. And the same can be said about Ohtani, of course. He's a remarkable athlete who can pitch and hit and run and field. I mean, he does so many things that impress you. It's remarkable how he's able to maintain such a high level of performance.
Joe Adell, the batter. Adell hit a couple of home runs on Friday night, part of a 4-hit game, went over 3 yesterday. Do you think, Buck, 10, 15, 20 years from now, not at the Ohtani level, but do you think every team will have 1 or 2 or 3 two-way players?
Boy, that's a great question. There's a lot of players that think they can do it.
And there are some guys who start off doing it, they get drafted, and maybe in the low minors they do it, but it seems by the time they get to high A or double A, it's gone. I wonder if there are a bunch of 10-year-old kids all over the world who just love Ohtani and want to grow up and do both, and if some of them might be able to.
Well, you know what? As kids, most kids play positions and they hit and they play other positions when they're not pitching. So you would think there'd probably be some, because generally, Little League, Babe Ruth, high school, the best athletes are pitchers, and they also can hit. So you would think that's a possibility. And now we understand baseball has allowed it, and Ohtani is certainly a great example of what's possible.
Ryan Aguilar stings the ball as he lines one to right. Teoscar Hernandez plays it on a bounce. Stopping at second on the play is Mike Ford, as the Angels have come out swinging early in the count here today.
Ohtani has a base hit on the first pitch. Mike Ford has a base hit on the first pitch, and now Aguilar has a pitch right down the middle on the first pitch. So Danny Jansen and Ross Stripling have to mix things up a little bit. Ford hit a curveball on the first pitch. This was a fastball middle out over the plate, and Aguilar has his second hit of his young major league career.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a pitcher face 7 batters and only throw 11 pitches.
Yeah. Well, the Angels are aware of it because they're up there hacking.
Here's the catcher, Kurt Suzuki. Tried to check the swing. They appeal, and he succeeded. It's ball 1. Suzuki, as Buck mentioned, has been around a long time. He was on that Washington Nationals team that won the World Series in 2019.
He's played with 5 different teams and spent the majority of his time in Oakland with the A's. That's the team that drafted him out of Cal State Fullerton as a college player.
Up and in, 2-0. Stripling making his 18th start of the season, his 26th appearance of the season. He faced the Angels twice in relief when the Blue Jays were out there in May. This is his 6th career start against the Angels. The other 5 coming with the Dodgers. And there's a pitch sent foul. And again, where would they be without him filling in to the extent that he has for the injured Hyunjin Ryu, just kind of stabilizing the rotation when it really needed it.
Yeah, he has been rock solid, and he's consistent. You know what you're going to get. He went on the IL with a little bit of a glute muscle high hamstring injury, and it wasn't anything significant. Probably a good break for him.
This is in the air to shallow left. Gurriel in and over towards the line to make the catch for the second out.
Batter up and get $0 delivery fees on your first order so you can dash that with DoorDash, the official on-demand delivery platform of the Toronto Blue Jays.
So 2 on, 2 out here in the top of the second, and now a guy who I would imagine pregame today, Buck, probably got a little bit more attention in the pitcher-catcher pitching coach conversation than he otherwise might have, because the light-hitting Andrew Velasquez has homered in both of the first 2 games of this series.
2-run shot in game on Friday night and a solo shot in the 9th inning against Anthony Bass yesterday.
It's a ground ball to Merrifield. Yeah, another first pitch swing. Merrifield with a good play from shallow right. And it's another very quick inning for Stripling. A couple of men left on by the Angels in the top of the second.
Hey kids, join MLB Network and your favorite players for a show made just for you. Play ball. It's all the big moments, bat flips, and amazing plays from an exciting league of baseball and tips to up your game. Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network.
Baseball
Baseball's biggest moments are live on MLB Big Inning. MLB.tv's nightly show takes you from game to game for all the grand slams, no-hitters, walk-offs, and more as they happen.
Wow, he can do it all!
Don't miss the ultimate baseball highlight reel.
This is some kind of awesome.
After your game ends, the action's just heating up on MLB Big Inning. Every night on MLB.tv.
Download the app and see for yourself why Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook.
This week on At the Letters, presented by Miller Lite, Ben and Arden ask the question, who will be the most compelling Blue Jay to watch between now and the end of the season? Stream the episode now wherever you get your podcasts or watch it on Sportsnet's YouTube channel.
I got my pick.
All right, I was going to ask you. I was one of the people they asked, and they let me split the vote, which was very nice because I broke the rules.
I know. If I agree with that.
Taking the easy way.
Yeah, that's riding the fence.
All right, who's your most compelling Blue Jay to watch the rest of the season?
John Schneider. I think he will tell you a lot about what the Blue Jays are doing. All you got to do is watch the skipper.
That was, there were 4 of us who were guests on the podcast. I think Arash said John Schneider. I believe Arash Madani said the same thing you do. So expand on that a little bit.
Well, I just think the manager, he's the one that wears the one-loss record. He's the one that feels all the emotions. He's the one that's got to pull the trigger on all the moves. So you'll be able to tell an awful lot by his demeanor of how the team is playing. And obviously, he has his sights set on the postseason play. Anything short of the postseason this year is going to be a huge disappointment. The pitchers have been good last time through, and now they need an effort from everybody to really get focused. Running out of time here. Blue Jays are fortunate that Seattle and Tampa Bay both lost last night. Baltimore is on a hot streak. Baltimore beat the Astros last night for a second time in a row. They have beaten Houston 5 straight games. Houston, the Astros.
The best team in the league.
Yeah. And Baltimore's handled them 5 in a row.
So Baltimore a game and a half back of both the Blue Jays and the Mariners. The Rays are a half game ahead of both the Blue Jays and the Mariners. And a swing and a miss by Alejandro Kirk. That is 3 straight strikeouts for Tucker Davidson.
Well, you know, we talk about the Blue Jays and all their potent right-handed bats. They don't do well against left-handed pitching. And we saw that on Friday night with Reed Detmers. That's a high breaking ball. Might have been a borderline ball, but tough to take with 2 strikes, and that's the one that you really got to hit. I remember talking to Yogi Berra during one of the Yankees World Series games. I was in the office with Joe Torre, and they were talking about Bernie Williams, their center fielder, during that time. And Bernie had a high breaking ball the night before, and he took it, and it was a strike. And Bernie came back and told Joe Torre that breaking ball was too high to swing out. And Yogi said, I never saw a breaking ball that was too high. High breaking balls go a long way.
Right now, it's that slider that has been the put-away pitch for Tucker Davidson. He's kind of starting guys with the fastball and finishing them with the slider. All 3 strikeouts have come on the slider.
Well, and that's why we mentioned Kurt Suzuki behind the plate in our defensive alignment with his experience. 1,537 games now in the major leagues, and Davidson's making his 4th start. So you lean on your veteran catcher.
That looked like a change up there at 86, and Watch this guy on tape his last game. His changeup is not, it doesn't move a ton. It's more a change of speed, which is what a changeup is, but it doesn't necessarily have a ton of movement like, say, Stripling's does. It's just trying to get you a little bit out front. It's about 9 miles an hour slower than the fastball. As he goes back to the fastball, and he walks Bichette, the first base runner of the afternoon for the Blue Jays. So now Teoscar Hernandez back into the lineup today after being out yesterday. In the last week, 2 foul balls off his left foot. This one at Yankee Stadium, x-rays negative. And then did it again in the first inning of Friday's game. Slightly different spot, in pain again. It was in the top half of the next inning when Ohtani hit the ball past Hernandez that went off the wall that Teoscar didn't get to, and then John Schneider took him out of the game. But after a day off, evidently Hernandez is feeling better, and they could really use this bat to get going again.
Yeah, they need his bat, no question about it. He had a tough start to his season. He was injured right off the bat. Remember, he got hurt in an oblique muscle in New York, first series against the Yankees, and then he went down the minor leagues for a very short rehab stint. I think right now he's in one of those funks where he's not really sure what he wants to hit, and he's chasing pitches off the plate and taking strikes. He's really in between.
Well, and it's a subtle little thing, maybe, maybe not, but he's now behind Bo Bichette in the lineup. It's usually Teoscar's 5th, or if one of the guys above him isn't in there, he's 4th. He's 6th today, with Bichette hitting in the 5 spot.
Well, and that's why I said John Schneider will tell you all you need to know about this team, because he's going to go with what he perceives to be the best lineup on a given day. And I don't think he has any preconceived notions outside of maybe Vladdy and Springer hitting 1-2 in the lineup. I think he'll mix and match as he sees fit. I really like Gurriel in the 3rd spot. I think he's a prototypical 3-hitter. Gives you good at-bats, delivers with the bases loaded, as we know. He likes to hit with runners in scoring position. I like him in the 3rd spot. So I think 1, 2, and 3 are pretty solid.
And when this team has been going well offensively, it's because the middle and the bottom of the order, especially the bottom of the order, have really been contributing as well.
You know, we say that with the Blue Jays, and it's true 100%. But if you really think about it, it's true with just about anybody, because their best hitters are going to be top of the order. And look what happened with the Angels in this series. Bottom of the order, got a few base hits, turn it over to the top half of the order, and that's when they did all their damage.
Bichette at first, 1 down, no score in the game, and a 2-1 count on Hernandez. And a swing and a miss. Teoscar, you could see a little bit in between there on should I or shouldn't I.
Yeah, and that's where he's at right now. Unfortunately, he's in a tough spot in his mind. He's probably thinking about, I haven't faced this guy before. I don't know what he's going to throw. And you can see how he had a very tentative swing, as if he got halfway through the swing and said, no, don't swing. And it was much too late.
Two sliders fouled back.
You know, when hitters are going well, it's all about slowing the game down. You pick up the ball quickly out of the pitcher's hand. You recognize swing or take right away. And then the flip side of that is you have no clue. You're up there, your timing's off, your stride is too quick, your hands aren't back, everything's going wrong, and you're just feeling for the baseball, and that's a very, very uncomfortable feeling.
And chases a slider in the dirt to strike out, 2 down.
6 at bats, 4 strikeouts for Davidson, and that's not exactly how he has pitched to this point, but you can see another breaking ball in the dirt right in front of the catcher, and he has to go after it with 2 strikes. He's out in front of it as well. His timing is just a little bit off right now.
So now all 4 strikeouts for Davidson. The put-away pitch has been the slider. And here's Matt Chapman with 2 down. And fastball's just off the plate for ball 1. Chapman at .233, 24 homers. Blue Jays shut out on Friday night on 6 hits, shut out yesterday on just 2 hits. They keep throwing over, but I've watched Bo a couple of times as Davidson comes to the plate, and he's not breaking back to first, but kind of leaning back in that direction as Davidson comes to the plate. A little bit tougher picking up the move sometimes with a left-hander on the mound. Bill Nevin, the interim manager of the Angels. They came in here having lost 6 in a row and 9 of 10. They're at the end of a long road trip and trying for a sweep on their way home. They play the Yankees tomorrow night in Anaheim. 1-2.
Yeah, they have really shut down the Blue Jays with the bats, and back-to-back shutouts. The Angels haven't had back-to-back shutouts in the same season, 3 in a row since 1974.
Bo's running, and it's fouled back by Chapman. And conversely, the Blue Jays have not been shut out 3 times in a row in the same season since 1990.
Now, the pitchers that combined for 3 straight shutouts, a little bit different than we see today. Nolan Ryan in the first of those 3 games, September 28th, threw a no-hitter. The next game, Andy Hassler threw 9 innings of shutout ball. And game 3, Frank Tanana, 9 innings, 6 hits, 10 strikeouts. 3 complete game shutouts in a row toward the end of the season in '74.
Again, guys, want to have a second look sometimes at what Davidson is doing so effectively here in the early going. 2-2 now, the count on Chapman. Hit hard but foul down the third baseline. The Blue Jays will stay home and welcome the Chicago Cubs in here starting tomorrow night. Jose Barrios will be on the mound, and the Cubs have now officially announced their rotation for the series, and it includes Marcus Stroman starting here on Tuesday night.
Kevin Gausman and Marcus Stroman, another pretty good pitching matchup.
So a full count now on Chapman, which means Bichette will be on the run. There's Gausman, who will get the start on Tuesday. Barrios tomorrow, Mitch White on Wednesday night. There goes Bichette, and it's chopped past the mound, charged by Velasquez, and it's not in time. Chapman, who runs pretty well, better than you might think, beats it out for an infield hit.
You know, Davidson, the pitcher, came off the mound, and he fell to the third base side of the mound toward the foul line. And he kind of looked up. I'm not sure if he had a chance to make the play, but it looks like he didn't really see the ball. No, he wasn't going to have a chance. It was over his head to the mound. The only chance was Velasquez, the shortstop, and he couldn't make it. Chapman beats it out for an infield hit.
So first and second with 2 down. The first hit of the afternoon. Chapman clearly safe at the bag. First and second, 2 out for Whit Merrifield, getting the start at second base today. Merrifield, as a Blue Jay in 17 games, is hitting .229, 1 homer. That was the one that bounced off the wall twice at Yankee Stadium. And a swing and a miss at the slider, 1-1.
Yeah, they're mixing up the pitches very effectively early in this start. Just enough fastballs to get the Blue Jays hitters thinking about it, and then they drops that slider on them, and they're out in front, swing over the top of it.
And now the fastball swung on and missed, 1-2. Jansen on deck. In the air to left field. Joe Adell is there, and the Blue Jays will strand a couple. End of 2 here at the Rogers Center. No score in this one.
Aubrey Plaza, are you ready to swing away? No. Here we go. It's like you're aiming at me or something. Yeah. Are we cool or? I told you this is the best day of my life. Sup? I have a lot of anger. 100 points! Numbers mean nothing to me! Is this a mic? Oh, nice. Hold not to laugh! Ow. You felt that? I did. So I am a witch. Yeah, you are a witch.
It's the ultimate power hour. Quick Pitch takes you around the league.
Things are heating up.
For every must-see moment from the majors.
The defending champs are doing what they do best.
Quick Pitch, late nights and every morning, only on MLB Network.
Since he re-entered the rotation for the second time back on June the 6th, only 3 starting pitchers in baseball have a better ERA than Stripling has.
Yeah, pretty impressive list. Dylan Cease for the season has a 227 earned run average. Verlander's had a phenomenal season. And then Ohtani, of course, 190 since that time. But there's Russ Stripling's right there with him since he was put back into the rotation, taking over full-time for Hyunjin Ryu. Verlander's got a 187 earned run average for the season. Dylan Cease 227 and Ohtani 267.
Verlander, by the way, pitching today against the Orioles in a game that is just underway in Houston. Slider right on the outside corner to start David Fletcher with a strike. Stripling threw just 16 pitches through 9 batters through the first 2 innings. Gave up 3 hits. The Angels have come out swinging today. Boy, and again, right on the edge, and he jumps out in front 0-2.
Yeah, he's got good location early in this game, and he flipped a couple of fastballs in there. Fastball to Ohtani for a base hit, fastball to Aguilar for a base hit, both on the first pitches.
Tries a changeup. Fletcher doesn't swing.
Stripling is a thinking man's pitcher. He throws a pitch, and as he's walking back up the hill to get to the rubber, he's thinking about the next pitch. Okay, he didn't offer it that one. Where do I go next? And he'll call his own game.
And he gets some swinging. Boy, what a great sequence there from Stripling to get Fletcher, who's a pretty tough guy to strike out.
I don't care how long you've played the game or what kind of game you've played. Down and away is always a good place to go. When in doubt, throw it down and away. It's the hardest pitch for a hitter to get to. It takes extra effort to reach out there and hit that pitch on the outside corner. You look at Fletcher now, he has to contort his body to get to it. He swings right through it. Previous pitch was in the same location. Stripling goes right back and gets the strikeout.
So now Mike Trout, who lifted a fly ball to left field his first time up. And we saw Stripling try to exploit that hole that Trout sometimes have with the fastballs up in the zone, even a little bit above the zone. Did that in the first at bat. Gets a call on the outside corner with a slider, 1-1. No patterns from Stripling, mixing a lot of different pitches, a lot of different locations. Like maybe a two-seamer there, Buck, and it's 1-2.
Yeah,
Use that to righties.
A late movement with that two-seamer. Another thing that he's done, you mentioned it earlier, he's throwing more changeups to right-handed hitters. And I never could understand why pitchers wouldn't throw changeups to the same side batter, but it's been universal. Lefties rarely threw changeups to left-handed hitters, and righties did the same. But if it's a good pitch, it's a good pitch. It's designed to disrupt the timing of the hitter. The perception for left-handed pitchers against left-handed hitters was that the ball was going to run back into your wheelhouse. Well, hitters are totally different than they used to be. Left-handers generally were pull hitters, and now everybody is spraying the ball all over the ballpark.
Popped him up. That looked like the changeup there. Vladdy is fighting the sun and makes the catch. Boy, Bo Bichette, who was way over deep in the hole at short, he could see that Vladdy might need some help, but Guerrero fortunately was able to find it.
Yeah, it was a tough sun. You can see what they're dealing with here this afternoon at Rogers Center, and Bo very alertly picks up on it. Look at Vladdy fighting, and here comes Bo. He said, man, he's in trouble. I better get there just in case, and he was standing right next to him. That was a terrific team effort right there. Vladdy calls for it. I got it, I got it, I got it. I'm sure it was very late that he made that call, but Bo was right there just in case.
Yeah, the two most important things today might be sunglasses and communication. You got to let people know if you need help.
Yeah, do you see it? Do you see it? Yeah, I got it.
2 down for Shohei Ohtani. 4 outfielders again for the Blue Jays. Merrifield out and right. Just foul. Unfortunately, because Guerrero and Stripling were both in place to make the play, but it's just foul.
Well, we had mentioned how first time through the batting order, 3 hitters jumped on the first pitch for base hits. And they have made slight adjustments. First 2 batters, second time through the order. Got him off with breaking balls. Really focusing on a quality pitch, first pitch of the bat.
And a changeup that gets past Bichette into right. Coming to his left. Don't know if it skipped up and over his glove or went under the glove. We'll have to get another look. Ohtani aboard with 2 down.
It looked like he got his feet a little bit tangled up on the edge of the dirt and the turf, and he didn't have his feet underneath him really properly, and I think it was just a hard hit ball. Watch how he shuffles to his left, and a little bit of a stagger step right there, but it'll be scored a base hit. As you can see, he's not full stride. That ball was smoked under his glove for a base hit. Ohtani's 2 for 2.
So a man on with 2 down for Luis Rengifo, who grounded out his first time up. And a strike right at the top of the zone and right on the inside corner. 0-1. Stripling not throwing particularly hard today, kind of 90 to 92 with his fastball in the early going, but he is locating it very well.
I would sacrifice a couple miles an hour velocity for improved location every day of the week. If you can locate, even though it might not be your best fastball, chances are you can hit the weaknesses of this lineup.
Change up again. It's funny, you talk to pitchers, some of them never look out at the scoreboard. Some look out to see what the velocity of their last pitch is, but often, and Rogers Center's among the ballparks that does this, you can see how much the pitch breaks horizontally and vertically. And some pitchers ignore the velocity and they look out to see how much break their pitch had, because that's more important to them. There's a ball hit to deep right field, and it's going to carry on out. Rengifo with a 2-run homer, and the Angels have the lead.
A 2-out single for Ohtani kept the inning going, and then Rengifo hammers his 10th home run of the season. They've been able to neutralize Trout and Ohtani to a degree, and it's been Velasquez and Rengifo hitting home runs in this series. And that ball just snuck over the fence in right field. And Angels again have a lead, a high changeup. And it just didn't get down and away. And it was out over the plate. Kind of a hit-me changeup. And he did.
Number 10 on the season for Rengifo. 2-0 Angels here in the third. And the batter is Mike Ford. Had a base hit his first time up. And flares one into left center, and that'll get down for a base hit. And Danny Jansen's headed to the mound to give Ross Stripling a bit of a breather.
Ford hit a curveball his first time up, and this pitch is off the plate away, but he stays on it and singles into center field. He's 2 for 2. 6 hits already for the Angels.
And the inning continues now for Joe Adell, who hit a fly ball to center field in his first at bat today. A shift on for the Blue Jays with the Merrifield around to the left of the bag. And a slider in there for a called strike.
That's that two-seamer again. That time it moved off the inside corner for a ball.
Buck, that home run by Rengifo, the first that Stripling has given up since July the 13th. He went 4 straight starts without allowing a home run. Broken back ground ball down to third. Chapman's got it, and the side is retired. But the 2-run homer by Luis Rengifo has given the Angels the lead.
Hey kids, join MLB Network and your favorite players for a show made just for you. Play ball. It's all the big moments, bat flips, and amazing plays from an exciting week of baseball and tips to up your game. Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network.
Here comes Roger Marin. There's a new home run champion of all time. Don't believe what I just saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
That ball is gone. It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Time since he fulfilled a promise to a young fan who survived brain cancer. Now, a couple years ago, Jansen was introduced to Camden at spring training, and he was part of MLB's baseball assistance team program. Now, while the team was in Boston earlier this week, our very own Pat Tabler pointed out to Jansen that that was the same Camden that was on the field at batting practice. I talked to him and met his sister and told him I would hit a home run for him in that ball game. Well, on Thursday, he kept his promise. In the 6th inning, Jansen hit that 3-1 pitch into the monster seats and left for home run number 10. As he rounded first base, he made sure he pointed to where Camden and his family were seated. Jansen told me he's never done that before. He said, I've never made that kind of promise to anyone before. But he did, and he delivered. And a cap tip to our Buck Martinez, Dan. He's the president of BAT, and they do terrific work. Guys.
Yeah, thank you, Hazel. And Camden was with us in spring training. We have a tour of spring training. And the baseball players, the active players, are one that fund BAT. And we were able to help out families like Camden's family, Charlie Montoya's family, also a grant recipient family. And it's a great organization. Pat did a great job of organizing. Danny Jansen, he had George Springer, Bo Bichette all came over, and they all talked to Camden down on the field. And Jordan Romano as well. It was terrific. 5 minutes, you make a kid's life. Absolutely wonderful.
Jansen leading off the bottom of the third. The Blue Jays trailing 2-0. He'll be followed by George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And a 3-0 strike, 3-1.
Dan, this is the time of the year where some Blue Jay player needs to throw a helmet, throw a bat, and say, man, we're not losing anymore. We got to stop this. I mean, there's a lot at stake, a lot on the line. Playoff berth is in question right now, and everything is jammed up, and the Blue Jays got to do something to figure out how to win this game.
Well,
you got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, every day that goes by without them increasing the lead over Baltimore, the Orioles become more and more confident. And there are a ton of games, 10 games left between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Baltimore's won 6 of the first 9. The season ends with 3 games at Camden Yards between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. And the last thing the Blue Jays want is to have to win 1 or 2 of them in Baltimore to clinch a playoff spot.
And the Blue Jays have 9 games remaining with Tampa Bay. I mean, there's a lot of things to be done before the end of this game to make sure you can't get swept in a game. And Angels are a major league team. They're having a bad year, and they have shut you out twice. You got to do something to turn things around.
Well, this guy seems like as good a candidate as anybody. George Springer at the plate. He has certainly had a lot of big moments for this team this year. It's funny how the time for a lot of stretches this year when the pitching's been good, the hitting hasn't been there. When the hitting's been good, maybe the pitching hasn't been quite as strong. It just doesn't feel like they have really clicked on both sides of the ball for a sustained period of time very often. And he went around 1-2.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, because when you think about it, the Blue Jays are near the top or leading the American League in many offensive categories, but it doesn't feel like it. And they have had stretches where they've really pitched well, but it's not consistent. I mean, last year we knew that they were a terrific offensive team, and you felt it every single day. It doesn't feel like that this year.
Springer has popped it up towards shallow right, a trio of Angels, and it'll be the second baseman Fletcher to make the catch, and he by far had the best shot at it. As Buck mentioned, the only good news for the Blue Jays yesterday is that both the Rays and the Mariners lost, so no change among the top 3. But the Orioles won. They are just a game and a half back right now.
And they're playing Houston. Dan mentioned that Verlander's going for the Astros against the Orioles, but the Orioles won 5 games in a row against Houston, which is hard to fathom given the great pitching rotation the Astros have. But they got their stopper on the mound today. And John Snyder, he knows I can't worry about what the other teams are doing. I got to worry about my club.
Looks like a curveball there, a slower breaking ball from Davidson, and a swing and a miss by Guerrero, who was called out on strikes his first time up. Just low with a changeup. Could have gone either way. It's 1-1. Davidson with his 4th start as an Angel. The last 2 pretty good. 6 innings, 2 runs against the Twins. 5 innings, 2 runs against the Rays. Hit sharply to short. To second one, back to first. They're going to turn the double play. Started very nicely by Andrew Velasquez, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grounds into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. So 3 complete here at the Rogers Center. Still 2-0 Angels.
If you think they're excited, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Be quiet, win ball games, then I'll shut up or I'll shut up.
High Heat with Christopher Russo, only on MLB Network.
When it's about to go down,
this is the story of the night.
MLB Tonight takes you there.
You will watch it all together live.
How about that? Big moments.
Oh, baby, 3,000 hits.
Big reactions.
Bobby Witt Jr.'s first big league knock.
And big interviews.
What was the first thing going through your mind?
Join TV's best baseball analysts for a big night of baseball. Only on MLB Network's MLB Tonight.
and the biggest plays, as this postseason could be next level. Get guaranteed postseason access now by becoming a 2023 season ticket member. Visit BlueJays.com/season tickets. This is what the Blue Jays are hoping to get to, making more moments into memories. They are currently in a playoff position, but they are trailing here today 2-0. The Angels just turned a terrific double play. Velasquez to Fletcher and on to Ford. The Angels are playing a very crisp, clean, smart brand of baseball here this weekend.
Yeah, they have really played well, and they came in here riding a 6-game losing streak. They look very flat, but boy, they have been anything but in the 3 games of this series. Fletcher turned a heck of a double play.
Ryan Aguilera takes a curveball for a strike. Or Aguilar, excuse me. Ryan Aguilar. His first weekend in the big leagues, and he's had a couple of hits in this series, including one earlier in this game. You mentioned he's a Southern California kid, grew up near Anaheim. David Fletcher the same. 2 of the guys in the lineup today grew up just a few miles from the ballpark they now call home.
Yeah, Orange County, California, great place for baseball, of course, and they have a great college program there. Cal State, Fullerton, Long Beach State baseball is very good as well. A lot of big leaguers have played there.
And a swing and a miss. Stripling strikes him out.
If your skills range from ordering tacos on a Wednesday to getting Corona on tap, you belong at Boston Pizza, where those in the know patio.
I don't want to sound the alarm, but it was kind of cool this morning when I took the dog for a walk. It's get out and get your patios in now, folks, as we all know. Nothing lasts forever. Still got a little more summer left, though.
Yeah, you can see the trees, the leaves are starting to show a tinge of orange and red. But it's nice. This is a great time of the year, isn't it?
It's beautiful today.
Perfect.
Kurt Suzuki hit a fly ball to left his first time up. I know you lived in New Jersey year-round for many, many years, but have you ever spent a significant amount of time in the winter in Toronto?
Yes.
The old caravan days?
My first year in broadcasting, I kind of stayed up here in the off season to pursue that a little bit more. It wasn't so much the cold or the snow, it was the dark. The dark got me, you know.
Dark's third on my list. The other 2 you mentioned are the top 2.
No, dark.
Dark got you.
Yeah, it gets dark so early and stays dark, and it's cold and dark, and I like Florida.
Snow's not too bad down in Florida?
Not too bad. No, every once in a while we'll hear about snow.
Gurriel going back and runs out of room. Kurt Suzuki with a home run, and it is 3-0 Angels.
Boy, the Angels didn't get to script in this series, that's for sure. Suzuki with his 4th home run, 2nd of the afternoon for the Angels. They hit 4 home runs on Friday. One of those came against Whit Merrifield, but Suzuki, the veteran, another changeup, and watch the location of the pitch. Just a little bit up and certainly on the inner half of the plate, and Suzuki hits it into the Blue Jays bullpen in left field. 3-0, and the Blue Jays have been shut out on just 1 hit.
Good sharp changeup there, 1-1 on Andrew Velasquez. The Angels now outscoring the Blue Jays 17-0 in the series. As you said, they didn't get the memo, and the Blue Jays had such a good road trip, 6-1 through New York and Boston, but unable to carry it over here against the Angels.
The Angels had a 6-game losing streak coming in here Friday night, and they had scored an average of 1.8 runs per game during those 6 games. They have feasted on Blue Jays pitching. You know, that's really the beauty of baseball. You can look at a season record. The Angels are 54-73, but on a given day, in a given series, anybody can beat anybody.
More than, in my opinion, the NHL, the NBA, or the NFL.
No question. I mean, it's so much related to your pitching. And you can have 3 pitchers come into a series and have maybe their best outings of the season, and all of a sudden you find yourself losing 3 in a row. Ohtani was terrific, 7 innings, a 2-hit ball. Detmers won on Friday night. Shut out the Blue Jays on 4 hits over 5 1/3.
Down to Guerrero, and he'll make the play unassisted.
Yeah, you think even in hockey, you go into a match, go into an arena, and everything is kind of up and down, back and forth, and you get a good bounce, a bad bounce. But in baseball, pitching can shut down the best hitting teams on a nightly basis.
There's David Fletcher, 0 for 2 today after 6 hits in the first 2 games of the series. And the curveball is in high for ball 1. Tampa Bay's up 4-1 on the Red Sox now. 4th inning at Fenway Park.
How about Rich Hill yesterday for Boston? Yeah, with 11 strikeouts and a lot of them on fastballs. You know, he's a curveball pitcher, throws almost 70% curveballs, but he got a lot of strikeouts on fastballs yesterday.
I think he's the 2nd oldest active player in the majors. I think only Albert Pujols is older than Rich Hill.
Rich has had a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
Late in his career, things really turned around for him, and obviously he got the World Series opportunity with the Dodgers, and he's bounced around. He loves to pitch, man.
A check swing roller to first. Guerrero himself again, avoiding Stripling as much as anything. A Suzuki home run makes it 3-0 going to the bottom of the 4th. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. will lead it off for the Blue Jays as they try to get something going here this series.
Hey, it's me, the summer breeze. I just flew back into town. Let's get outside. Much better.
Nice. What? With the Game Time app, I pay 60% less than this guy. 60%? Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price. Download Game Time now. Nice shirt.
Bottom of the 4th, Blue Jays down 3-0. Yesterday, with Hyunjin Ryu in town getting a look-see for the medical staff, Gurriel, eventually, somehow, they got into a conversation about pitching grips. Every hitter wants to pitch. Every hitter wants to know about grips, and he was getting a little tutorial there for the left-hander.
Yeah, he said, don't twist your wrist, stay on top of the baseball, and then what do you do with the four-seamer? Well, yeah, you just throw it and let it ride up and away. That was interesting. Gurriel wasn't in the lineup, and Ryu just sitting there sharing some of his knowledge with him.
Lourdes will look at a strike here as he leads off the bottom of the 4th. The Blue Jays just 1 hit through the first 3. And they are down 3-0. Gurriel struck out on his first at bat. Maybe John Schneider's trying to change the luck. Instead of being up on the top step, he's back down on the bench right now.
See, I told you, he's the guy you got to watch.
Yeah.
He'll tell you all you need to know about what's going on with the team. He'd probably go down the other end of the bench if nothing happens here. Yeah. Sit on the other end for a while. Got to change your luck.
Foul back, 2-2.
Well, one thing you can't do in baseball is wait for the game to come to you. Sometimes you have to take the game over, and you do that with forcing the issues. And like you say, you can't do much until you get base runners on. But you know, it's not a team that hits and run a lot, but you might have to do that. Do something to change your offense.
And right now they are chasing pitches from Tucker Davidson. That is strikeout number 5.
Gurriel goes down swinging for a second time. And this is another high breaking ball. Same pitch he struck out on in his first at bat. Suzuki wanted that ball down naturally, but Gurriel misses that hanging breaking ball. Probably a ball upstairs, but that's the one you feel like you can tomahawk.
One down. Here's Alejandro Kirk, who struck out in his first at bat today. Well, this is one of these stretches too, because when things are going well, you'll hear the players say, I'm happy to take my walk, let the guy behind me do it. I believe in him, he believes in me. But you get into this 3 days in a row and maybe everybody starts trying to hit a 5-run homer again.
Yeah, and too, now you can see Davidson starting to make some pretty quality pitches. He's gaining confidence with each at bat. Each time he sets a Blue Jay hitter down, he's gaining more confidence.
Tell you what, his pace is great too, which speaks to his confidence. He's not out there killing time between pitches.
Well, and once again, you know, Suzuki behind the plate is ready to give him a sign. He toes the rubber, looks in, agrees with the pitch, and fires. Rhythm and timing. It's important at the plate and on the mound.
Just low with a slider, 3-1.
When a pitcher works quickly, it gives the hitter a bad feeling like, wait a minute, I'm not ready. You're ready, but I'm not. You're rushing me here. And boy, when good pitchers get that sense, they will stay right on the mound. They won't go back to the rosin bag. They won't kick the dirt. They'll just stand on that rubber waiting for you to get ready because they feel like you're going to be out as soon as you get in there.
Here comes the 3-2. And it's hit sharply, but lined to the second baseman Fletcher for the second out. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to the Rogers Center to see the Blue Jays. Buy and manage game tickets, unlock offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Two down here in the fourth inning, and the batter is Bo Bichette, who walked back in the second. You know, I don't pay attention to walk-up music or anything like that, but you wonder if this goes poorly the rest of the day, if whoever's in the lineup tomorrow, if they change all of their walk-up songs. Like, were you superstitious as a player?
I wore number 13.
It's a great comeback.
No, I can't get into walk-up music. You know, I was just concentrating on trying to get up to the plate and get a hit. But, you know, those things, they matter now. And guys think about it all the time. I don't think you should worry about changing your walk-up music. Maybe you should change your approach to the plate.
You know, for the most part on the road trip, again, they won 6 out of 7, and a lot of that was the pitching. But it felt like overall the approaches were pretty good.
Yeah, they started laying off that outside pitch, and that had been a problem for them on the previous homestand. They were chasing a lot of borderline pitches away like that. And now it seems as though they're a little more aware that a ball off the plate is one you don't want to swing at. But it's so difficult when you are having trouble scoring runs to be patient and selective and take a walk.
The appeal didn't go, and Bichette will take a walk for the second time this afternoon.
You can't force it. If it's not there, you got to take a walk, and Bo doesn't walk often. That's just the 31st and 32nd walk of the season for Bichette, but he had a good at-bat both times. Laid off some tough pitches.
So with a man on and 2 down, it's Teoscar Hernandez, who struck out swinging back in the second. And a throw over as the cat and mouse game begins again between Davidson and Bichette, same as we saw back in the second.
Yeah, you mentioned Suzuki. He's had his issues with throwing the last several years. He hurt his shoulder a couple of years ago and then literally could barely get the ball to second base for a while, but he's not throwing as well as he did early in his career, obviously. But what you look for is a split time when that pitcher makes his first move to the time the ball hits the catcher's mitt to be about 1-5 or higher. And we saw with Ohtani yesterday, he was really unloading in a hurry and didn't give the Blue Jays any opportunities, and they didn't have many base runners to take a base.
Again, the appeal. Again, no swing. 1-1 on Hernandez.
Teo, in his first 2 at-bats, there have been a lot of checked swings, a lot of tentative swings, as if he's just not really picking up the baseball. That's what you got to focus on first and foremost. Try to zero in on that baseball, pick it up out of his hand, and then determine if it's one you want to swing at. Don't mess with his feet.
Yeah. Especially that left one.
His feet have taken a beating lately. That ball down and in, he had to jump out of the way of him.
And lays off a down and in slider. The count now in his favor at 3-1.
You know, it's interesting, in our conversation with Dave Stieb yesterday, he talked about hitters counts. And he said, well, now there's no hitters counts. I mean, you never get a fastball count 2-1, 3-1. Pitchers are always quick to throw breaking balls, even in these fastball counts.
And that's just outside for ball 4. So back-to-back walks. The 4th given up by Davidson already today. And a couple of men on now for Matt Chapman.
Suzuki, you saw Matt Bush, the pitching coach, make the sign from the bench, hey, go out and have a talk to him. And pitching coach doesn't need to go out there. It's going to be a mound visit anyway, but you've got an experienced catcher like Suzuki going out there and saying, hey, you're just rushing yourself a little bit. Get back in that good delivery.
Bring the colors of the ballpark to your home with Beauty Tone Paint's Toronto Blue Jays collection. Only at Home Hardware and Building Centers. Here's how.
Final game of the series between the Angels and the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 4th inning, 3-0 Angels. 2 on, 2 out for the Jays and Matt Chapman, the batter. His infield hit in the second is the only hit the Blue Jays have to this point of the ball game. Davidson misses away.
And Chapman hit a little chopper over the mound that Velasquez fielded, but he was late with his throw to first base.
And now batter after batter can see that he's fighting his command.
Yeah, and missing off the plate away. Matt's really got to be selective here. I mean, here's where you're taking a BP approach, saying if I don't get a ball right where I want to, I'm not going to swing. And you got to think about a damage pitch now. Do some damage with this pitch if you get a good one to hit.
To center field, pretty well hit, and off the wall. Bichette in to score. Hernandez held at third on an RBI double by Chapman that has the Blue Jays on the board.
Well, that's some damage. An RBI double, his 25th double of the season. And here comes Matt Bush as the pitching coach now will come out and have a chat with his young lefty. Bobichette walked, and right behind him, Teoscar walked. Back-to-back two-out walks, and then Matt Chapman delivers the RBI. First run of the series for the Blue Jays. Another slider, and it's out over the plate, and Matt does a good job. Stayed on it and hit it deep. He did some damage over Trout's head. Trout played it perfectly off the wall in center to keep the second runner from scoring. Teoscar stops at third, but this was halfway up the fence in center.
So the first run of the series for the Blue Jays, as they are now down 3-1, and they got 2 in scoring position for Whit Merrifield. Merrifield with a fly ball to left field in his first at bat. Fastball hit up the middle. The second baseman Fletcher makes a good play to get Merrifield and end the inning. The Blue Jays get the one on the Matt Chapman double off the center field fence and are on the board, now trailing 3-1 at the end of 4.
They say nothing worth having comes easy, to which we say they must not have had our sirloin steak with garlic herb butter, because it takes less than 30 minutes to make. No, really. With Home Chef, you get more ways to have super delicious, super fresh meals that are also super easy. So even when you don't really have time to cook, you still have time to Home Chef. Get $90 off your first month at homechef.com. Also available at select stores. Home Chef. Delicious means simple.
At Warby Parker, we like to keep things simple. Well, except for our name. Warby Parker. Anyway, our glasses start at $95 and come standard with prescription lenses. And those prescription lenses come with scratch-resistant and anti-reflective coatings with UV protection. Because why would those ever be options? Buying glasses doesn't have to be a thing. Keep it simple. Shop Warby Parker. Try 5 pairs for free or visit a nearby store.
Took a mirror to the back. I was like, oh, wow. My hair is thinning. Did a search and found Hims. I asked a few medical history questions. I could do it from anywhere. There's a product out there that actually works.
Get started today at 4hims.com.
With the Game Time app, I paid 60% less than this guy.
What?
And it's not just sports tickets. It's also concerts. Performances, too.
Oh, come on!
Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Very best in the game and a 3-time MVP to Mike Trout. If you look at his OPS plus, which regulates everything for era and the ballpark or ballparks in which you played in, so you can look at players on an equal basis in terms of OPS. He is above Mickey Mantle, above Joe DiMaggio, above your favorite player of all time, Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, OPS is a good measuring tool, OPS plus, especially because you mentioned the ballpark factor, and Mantle and DiMaggio played in the biggest ballpark in baseball, Yankee Stadium, before it was renovated. And then Willie Mays played in Candlestick when the wind blew in from left field on a regular basis. So I like that, and to Mike Trout's the best of those by that measuring stick.
How great is he? From, you know, I'm not saying is he better than Mays, is he not? He's got another hopefully 7, 8, 9 years to play. But when you think about the greatest players you've ever seen, do you get to Mike Trout's name pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think so. But it is so difficult to compare eras because of so many factors that are involved. And the ballparks today are much smaller than the ballparks that Mantle, DiMaggio, and Mays played in general, all around. And you know what? Pitchers were more dominant. Pitchers set the tone for the ball games in the era of DiMaggio, Mantle, and Mays, and they were able to overcome that. And pitchers would knock you down. I remember watching Willie Mays play against the Dodgers, and they'd knock him down every at bat. I mean, literally throw at his head every at bat. And he had to fight through that. And the game's a lot different because of that. But I don't want to take anything away from Mike Trout. He's a phenomenal player and probably one of the best players we've ever seen.
You just hope he can stay healthy for the back half of his career. Like Ken Griffey Jr.'s first 10 years, as good as any player that I've ever seen. But then with Cincinnati, just didn't have the same health, didn't have the same production. Trout's had some injuries, and he's won 3 MVPs. He easily could have won 1 or 2 more if the voters had looked at it a little bit differently. I just hope that he's able to, that the back half of his career gives him good health.
That's a great comparison, because Ken Griffey Jr., would you say Ken Griffey Jr. is a better center fielder than Mike Trout in the prime?
Just defensively?
Defensively.
I would say yes.
Yes, I would too. And so it's so difficult to compare eras as Stripling gets another pitch in the perfect spot as Trout strikes out for the first time this afternoon, and he's exploited that weakness up in the zone. He's got that ball right where he wanted to now. But yeah, it's difficult to compare eras, but Griffey and Trout's a good comparison. And you talk about base running, Griffey stole his share of bases. Mike's not going to run as much because he had that significant calf injury.
Yeah, doesn't run much at all anymore.
No.
Still has great power, and obviously, so productive, gets on base at such a high clip. The Seattle Ken Griffey Jr. is as good a player I think as I've ever seen, and certainly as exciting a player as I've ever seen.
He could do so many things that would make the highlight reel on a regular basis. Steal bases, go first to home, steal home runs in the field, make great throws. And he had a beautiful personality. He was terrific for the game, much like Trout. Trout's very outgoing, and he's always accommodating to the fans.
So there aren't many guys that we can compare Mike Trout with. There aren't any guys we can compare Shohei Ohtani with. He's one out of a group of 1.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth could do that.
We didn't see him play.
No, I didn't see him play either. He was a little bit before my time, but I mean, that's the only one we could say there have been enough samples of Babe Ruth pitching to put him in the same category.
Look at this. Going to try to bunt for a base hit. Jansen will make the play.
Oh, he can run. He can really run. He's got 6 triples this season. He had 8 triples last year, and he's got 11 stolen bases. And if he gets that bunt up the third baseline, which he was trying to do, he was going to be academic. But he scores around early and just bunts it much too close to home plate. Danny does a good job, and Ohtani stumbled a bit. Second stride out of the batter's box. He's got some long strides and covers a lot of ground, but he didn't get that bunt where he wanted it.
And given his power, I think the Blue Jays are just fine with him trying to do that.
Yep.
So 2 down. Here's Rengifo, who got the Angels on the board with a 2-run homer in the 3rd.
It's funny, when you come into this series, the first thing you say to yourself, if you're game planning against the Angels, don't let Trout and Ohtani hurt you. Well, Ohtani had a 2-run triple in Friday night's game, but they have really handled them fairly well. And it's been Rengifo and Suzuki and Velasquez, guys you wouldn't normally think of as home run hitters, that have done the damage.
And Trout and Ohtani between them are 4 for 21 in the series. Trout homered on Friday night, and Ohtani had the triple on Friday night. Ohtani's got a couple of hits today, one of them an infield hit. A 2-2 count now on Rengifo.
Ross has made some good pitches with his fastball in this inning. That's how he was able to strike out Trout, locating that fastball, and he got that fastball inside the Rengifo right there in a pretty effective spot.
And he finishes them off in order. A nice 5th inning for Ross Stripling. Jansen, Springer, Guerrero coming up bottom half.
Every time he takes the field, he competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson punching home run into the left field stand.
Crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run. Mike Piazza. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome.
That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch.
The 92 World Series champs gave many of the current Blue Jays something to really think about and strive for. Alek Manoah told me watching the highlights was, quote, kind of a little motivation to do what they did. And while Manoah and his teammates were too young to remember some of the greats, hitting strategist Dave Hudgens has more vivid memories. Hudgens had 7 total at-bats as a member of the Oakland Athletics. His lone major league hit, against that guy, Dave Stieb in 1983. I joked with Hudgens because he faced Stieb. I said, was it a bloop single? And he said, nope, a well-placed short line drive. He laughed. Now, he got Stieb to sign the baseball after the game, and the Blue Jays ace wrote, quote, nice hit. Hudgens said he probably got the start that day, guys, because no one back in the day really wanted to face Dave Stieb, guys.
Well, you can understand that, and it was so much fun having Dave Stieb in the booth for a full inning yesterday. He was back here as part of the 92 team. And Buck, you're one of the few who can say you both hit against Dave Stieb and caught Dave Stieb, so you have a unique perspective on him. And again, a guy who you kind of had to see him to understand how good he was, as good a pitcher as there was in the 1980s. And there are a couple of mustachioed guys from the 80s right there. Look at that.
Long time ago, that's an exhibition stadium. Steve probably says, you know, he's telling me to throw more fastballs.
Jansen lines one off the left field fence and into second with a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 5th. It amazed me, the recall, maybe it shouldn't, that Steve had. I should have thrown this pitch in that game. I should have thrown this pitch in that game. And then the two of you reminiscing. This was awesome. This made the whole thing. This was the exclamation point to the whole afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty special. And he came back, and the last thing he said was, man, I'm really glad you're healthy.
That's great.
He is a terrific guy.
That's great.
We've maintained a great friendship for a long time. And he was maybe the best competitor I ever had on the team, and he loved to compete.
That's saying something. And I think what made it so much fun for people is you don't see Dave Stieb interviewed very much at all. Right. He's just a low-profile guy, and you don't see him at many events. And for him to come back here and to agree to come to the booth for us, and then the top half of the inning went really quickly. Dave, can you stay? And he said yes, and the bottom half is where you two guys really got going. It was awesome.
You know what? Years ago, and I'd approach him when I became a broadcaster. I'd say, hey, Dave, you want to do an interview? Why do you want to talk to me? He never wanted to talk about himself, but man, oh man, that was a great opportunity we had yesterday.
A 3-0 count on Springer.
One more point about what you're saying. His recollection of the 5 one-hitters was remarkable.
Yes.
And he admitted, he said, I threw my second, third pitches in those situations when I should have just thrown fastballs at that point because I had no hitters and perfect games going.
And ball 4. I thought it was really great of you to point out that you weren't behind the plate for any one of those 5, or you'd have forced him to throw a different pitch probably, right?
Yeah, I wasn't back there. I was broadcasting by the time that all came about.
So Davidson has now given up 5 walks in this game. The Blue Jays have the first 2 men on, and that's enough for the Angels to get the bullpen going. Right-hander Andrew Wentz is starting to throw.
And Wentz pitched on Friday, and Suzuki's out there, but here comes the skipper. This looks like we're going to have a pitching change in this 3-1 Angels ball game.
Phil Nevin on his way to the mound. Davidson will not face Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a 3rd time today. A Jansen double and a Springer walk.
From inside jokes.
Hey, look, it's Mike Napafanakis.
To insider's perspectives.
I like this. Plus money. Dakota Hudson over 3.5 strikeouts.
Your best bet is the pregame spread. Served up only on MLB Network.
Looney Dogs Night presented by Schneider's this week when the Cubs are in town. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets to get yours for Looney Dog Night Tuesday. So that's Gausman, Stroman, and Looney Dogs Night all wrapped up into one.
And the following Looney Dogs Night is a doubleheader. A double dip opportunity against Tampa Bay, so you can have double your fun at the ballpark and get double Looney Dogs.
Records will be shattered. Here's Andrew Wentz into the game with the Blue Jays threatening in the bottom of the fifth.
Yeah, Wentz, he worked in the game on Friday. Came in with 2 on and 1 out in the 6th inning. And he got Bo Bichette to fly out. Got Chapman on a ground ball. Full fielder's choice. Got Whitfield to end the inning after walking Chapman. So he's going to face Guerrero here. So Vladdy will face him first time in this series.
Guerrero with a strikeout and a double play ball.
First time that Vladdy will face Wentz.
The double play that Guerrero hit into his last time up, his 21st of the season. Everybody knows Vladdy hits the ball hard. Everybody knows Vladdy hits the ball on the ground quite a bit. And those two things can manifest themselves in a lot of double play balls. So 21 double plays that he has grounded into this year, looking to get a ball in the air here against Wentz.
Well, that to me was an exceptional double play. Velasquez and Fletcher really did a great job of turning that double play.
Wow. He was trying to go to the 500 level on that one.
Well, and you know what? If he hits the ball, we wouldn't notice the big swing. But he swings through it, and he had a cut. And that's what you want to do. Home run hitters, that's the kind of swing you take. It just doesn't look as exaggerated when they hit the ball because we're watching the ball.
Takes it high, 2 balls and a strike. Looking at his left hand a little bit. Don't know if that big swing jarred it a little bit. Jansen and Springer aboard. And a high fastball swung through, 2-2.
Probably a little bit too high. I think that's what Vladdy's a little more concerned about than the swing and a miss. The fact that it was probably too high. You can see where it is. That's up above the letters. It looks hittable. It's hard to get on top of it.
The 2-2. And a slider down and away. Now a full count. The Blue Jays down 3-1, but they got something going here. Danny Jansen led off the bottom of the 5th with a double. George Springer took a walk. Phil Nevin made a pitching change. And it's 3-2 on Vladdy with the ballpark getting noisy. A bouncer to third. To second, 1, and back to first. Safe at first is the call on what looked extremely close. And will the Angels have a look at it?
You can bet they're going to wait for their review room to have a look at it, as they're probably going to challenge it, and why not? take a chance to challenge.
Los Angeles is challenging the safe call at first base.
Jim Reynolds, the crew chief, made the call at first base. Vladdy hit it hard, but the third baseman, Rengifo, gives the feed to Fletcher a little bit to the outside of the bag. Fletcher turned a double play last time Vladdy was up. On the base, boy, that's bang, bang.
That's a dead heat.
It is a dead heat.
Yeah.
Right there, I tell you what.
This is probably our best look here.
Foot not on the base there.
But
there.
Right. Looks like a dead heat.
Yeah, it could go either way in my book.
Call on the field is safe. That might be the difference here.
How was that for riding the fence? It could go either way.
If they say the call stands, that means they don't know for sure, but they didn't have enough to overturn it. But of course, that's good enough for the Blue Jays. This one might take a while, Buck.
Yeah, it's really close, and you have to have so many different angles. And you know, we were in the replay room in New York early in the season and saw all the different angles. They have so many more angles than we're aware of.
Here we go.
After review, the call stands. The runner is safe. Los Angeles loses their challenge.
So it's a fielder's choice. Boy, by the narrowest of margins, and it's runners at first and third with one out. Let's watch Vladdy getting down the line.
And he knows it's going to be close to being a double play, but he helps the umpires across the bag. That cost the Angels their challenge.
So first and third, one out for Gurriel in a big spot. Couple of strikeouts today for Gurriel against Davidson. Probably happy to be seeing a different guy right now in Wentz. Very solid numbers with runners in scoring position for Lourdes on the season.
One of the best on the team.
Up and in, 1-1. Davidson got off to a great start, but eventually his command betrayed him. He walked 5 in 4+ innings today.
Back-to-back 2-out walks in the fourth, I think, changed this whole outing. If he can get that third out, and then Chapman drives in one of those two base runners that reached on the base on balls.
And called strike 2 right on the inside corner.
Yeah, that's a design pitch. It looked like he was trying to throw that front door breaking ball and got Gurriel to make a move, and then the ball broke and caught the inside corner.
Taken down and away.
You see the infield defense, the way they're playing him to pull. Fletcher is shaded toward the bag at second base. Big hole on the right side, but they've thrown him fastballs in and breaking balls in, so they're not giving him much he can hit to the right side of the infield. But the pitcher's got to realize where your defense is and make sure that he pitches to the defense. You throw too many pitches outside, and Gurriel will take it through that vacated side of the infield.
Pop back foul out of play.
Now, certainly in this situation, you want to get at least one of these runners in. You just got to cut into this lead. I mean, runs have been difficult for the Blue Jays to come up with. First and third, you got to deliver with less than 2 outs.
And it's high, ball 3. Will they start Vladdy here, trusting Gurriel to put a ball in play to try to stay out of a double play?
I wouldn't start him because you got Kirk coming up next, and he has the ability to get a base hit with 2 outs.
He is not going, and it's grounded up the middle, and Velasquez will step on the bag and turn 2 to end the inning. So Wentz does a nice job. 3-1 Angels at the end of 5 as we send you to Jamie Campbell now for an update.
Our celebrity guests smack balls and gain points for hits. Co-starring in the new series, A League of Their Own. Darcy Carden!
You do that again.
Channel your inner McGuire.
Let's do this.
Oh! I saw that ball disintegrate.
This is a bash. So now we're Bash Brothers.
All right, yeah! Favorite baseball snack?
Like a nice little helmet full of tzatziki. Tasty. I love you. This has been the best day of my life.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson, 13 home runs into the left field stand.
Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time. I don't believe what I just saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star. This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run!
Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome. That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Mike Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
For 3 games starting tomorrow night. We told you Tuesday night, Kevin Gausman and Marcus Stroman, the pitching matchup. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com. Well, the Blue Jays had an opportunity in the bottom of the 5th. Had runners at first and third with 1 out. Guerrero was the runner at first after his fielder's choice. Gurriel was the batter, and Gurriel bouncing into a double play. And at the end of the inning, frustration for Guerrero as he kind of slams down his helmet a little bit. And he's not the only one. This is not to isolate him here. A lot of them are feeling frustration, coming off a great road trip, but a ton of frustration. I shouldn't say a ton. There is visible frustration for this team this weekend with the way things have gone against the Angels.
Yep, everybody's a little bit disappointed in their first 2 games of this series, given how well they played at Yankee Stadium in Fenway Park.
Mike Ford leads off the 6th and sends a fly ball to right where Teoscar Hernandez makes the play as Ross Stripling, who's been very efficient today, has not walked a batter. The pitch count is low. He's already gotten through Trout and Ohtani the 3rd time. So John Schneider's sending him back out for the 6th to face the middle and bottom of the order. Here's Joe Adell 0 for 2. Good movement there. 0-2. Both bullpens are now busy, although David Phelps has just gotten up and just a couple of soft tosses. He's not really in get going mode yet. Things a little more serious over on the right field side of the field with Jaime Barria. Swing and a miss. He strikes at Adell on 3 pitches.
Good fastball upstairs. A couple of strikeouts last inning. Retired the side in order. He's now set down 6 in a row after the home run to Suzuki. That fastball beats Adell upstairs.
So that is 7 in a row now set down by Stripling since the Suzuki home run in the 4th. And it gets Aguilar to swing at a changeup. 0-1. And again, that's not a replay. 0-2. Boy, he's confident with that pitch this year.
Yeah, it's been a good pitch for him, and I'm glad he finally mastered it. It's generally the last pitch that any starting pitcher masters.
Wow, that's some pitching right here in the 6th inning. Stripling's in a groove. Needs the offense to get it going.
Don't sweat the technique. And here are the first images.
Hello, everyone. You don't have to leave the solar system to watch MLB Network. Just sign in with your TV provider info at MLBnetwork.com or through the MLB app. MLB Network, just about anywhere in the known universe.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson, 13 home runs into the left field stands.
Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time. I don't believe what I just saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star. This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run. Mike Piazza. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome. That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Mike Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
This afternoon on Sportsnet 1, the Yankees wrapping up their series in Oakland. The Yankees losing an extra innings to the A's last night. You can see it on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. Clark Schmidt will be on the mound for the Yankees. He is taking the spot in the rotation for Nestor Cortez, who has gone on the IL. Ross Stripling coming off the mound after a 3-up, 3-down top of the 6th. And the handshake means his work is done. Gave up 2 homers, accounting for all 3 runs. But again, a solid 6-inning outing. We'd be talking about this outing probably a little bit differently if the offense had been doing more on the other side.
Yeah, another good outing for Stripling as the Angels make another pitching change. Jaime Barria into the ballgame here to start the bottom of the 6th. They look to Kirk, Bichette, and Teoscar Hernandez. This will be his 27th game of the season. He's one of those guys that can give you multiple innings out of the bullpen. He's got 6 relief appearances of 3+ innings this season.
The first batter he will face is Alejandro Kirk. He lifts a very high fly ball into shallow center field where Mike Trout is there to make the play. Kirk now 0 for 3. Blue Jay run coming in the 4th on a 2-out RBI double by Matt Chapman. They had runners on the corners with 1 out in the 5th, but couldn't score. A Gurriel double play ball, one of 2 double plays the Blue Jays have hit into today. And here's Bo Bichette, who has taken a couple of walks on the afternoon. He has scored the only run of the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
Third time that Barria has faced the Blue Jays this season. He has allowed just 1 hit in 5 1/3 prior to this outing this afternoon. Both of those previous outings out in Anaheim back in May. He's an unusual relief pitcher in this day and age. He has 11 outings this season of 3+ innings. That's the most in the American League or in the majors. He will give you 3 innings, and that is a unicorn in this day and age.
Oh, nice job there by Bichette on a slider away, serving it into center field for a base hit. Fans, the Jays Care 50-50 homestand continues to grow, and it will continue to do so over this entire homestand. It's over $250,000 already. Get your tickets right now. You can still win some early bird prizes as well. Get your tickets from anywhere in Ontario at bluejays.com/5050. So Bichette aboard for the third time today, and Teoscar Hernandez comes up as the potential tying run. Hernandez today, a strikeout and a walk. And there's another base hit into center field. Just about the same spot the ball to Bichette was.
Teoscar's now 3 for 4 going head-to-head against Berea. He stayed on that pitch, breaking ball, cut it out over the plate. He hit it just like Bo did. Right out into center field. Stayed on that pitch. A much better swing from Teoscar in that at-bat than we had seen earlier in the afternoon.
So 2 on with 1 out. Another opportunity. Here is Matt Chapman, 2 for 2. An infield hit in the second and an RBI double in the fourth. And strike one call. Kevin Biggio looks like he might be getting ready, possibly to pinch hit for the man on deck right now when Whit Merrifield.
Matt Chapman spent most of his career with the Oakland A's in the AL West, so he has faced Berea a lot and hasn't had much success. Just 1 for 11, but that one hit was a home run. So he has a good idea what he's dealing with here.
And a guy who will take pitches. 2-1, the count on Chapman. We mentioned 2 double plays the Blue Jays have hit into today. That is 103 now on the season. That's the 5th most in the major leagues. In the air to right field. Aguilar back. Makes the catch. Bichette can tag and come to third. Hernandez back to first. 2 down. The inning will continue, but we saw Biggio getting loose, but maybe it's not for Merrifield. Maybe he would, not sure what they would do here, but the decision has been made to leave Merrifield. Maybe a different situation would have been enough to get Cabot into the game, but Merrifield is going to bat. He is 0 for 2. Danny Jansen's out on deck.
He's got a couple of hits in 3 at-bats going up against Berea, so that might have factored in, especially with 2 outs too. You might want to save one of your left-handed bats for a more opportune situation.
Yeah, that could have been it. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Velasquez a sliding stop and gets to the bag ahead of Hernandez for the 3rd out. Another couple of men left on by the Blue Jays here in the 6th. That is still 3-1 Angels. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie and Joe.
Aubrey Plaza.
Are you ready to swing away?
No. Here we go. It's like you're aiming at me or something.
Yeah!
Are we cool or?
I told you this is the best day of my life!
Shut.
I
have a lot of anger.
100 points!
Numbers mean nothing to me!
Is this a mic?
Oh, nice.
Not to laugh!
Ow.
You felt that?
I did.
So I am a witch.
Yeah, you are a witch.
game is changing, and so are the shows that talk about it. MLB Network's Off Base.
What's going on, everyone?
A modern baseball show for the modern baseball fan.
It doesn't get much better than sitting around and talking baseball.
Only on MLB Network.
Seventh, and you just saw and heard Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall talk about it a little bit, but a nice play made by Velasquez. But let's take a look at another angle. Teoscar Hernandez, the runner at first, as Merrifield hits the ball up the middle, and it looks like to me, Buck, because there Teoscar speeds up a little bit, and again, we know his foot is bothering him, but it looks like to me he assumed the throw would go to first, that there would not be a play on him at second, and by the time he realized what Velasquez was doing and accelerated, it was too late.
Much too late, and you just can't have that happen. You know, you can't assume anything, and you have to go 100% on every play, and if you're not able to go 100%, you got to tell the manager at the start of the game, hey, I'm not good enough to go. But he anticipated that Velasquez was going to go to first. Velasquez knew he couldn't throw out where Merrifield at first, so he scampered and scrambled to get to the bag at second and forced Teoscar.
And that's a run.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Adam Simber into the game here in the seventh. And that man's got to be frustrated with the fact that, again, it's not been the cleanest brand of baseball that the Blue Jays have played the last few days, either defensively or on the base paths.
No, and it comes at a terrible time. End of August, you're wrapping up things. Your schedule is dwindling in a number of games, and you're not playing good baseball. And the Blue Jays, they get another decent pitching performance today from Ross Stripling. And Stripling gave up 3 runs, and they all came on home runs. A 2-run shot to Rengifo in the third, a solo shot to Suzuki in the fourth. But the Blue Jays haven't been able to get too many hits themselves.
And again, you know, we don't know how much his foot is bothering him. We know he was out of the lineup yesterday, but he wasn't. He accelerated late in the play,
right.
Which
he
makes
anticipated
you
the play was going to first.
He anticipated
you can't anticipate. You got to think about beating that infielder to the bag at second.
Yeah, run hard until somebody gives you a reason not to anymore. As Suzuki grounds out one down. Seems the bigger the games get, the more the little things turn into big things.
Oh, they are. I mean, that's just, you know, and early in the season you say, well, you know, we'll have plenty of time to make it up. Now you don't have any time to make it up. You just can't give the other teams any extra opportunities to get outs. You know, it's 90 feet. You run 90 feet, what, 4 or 5 times a day? And if you can't do that, you shouldn't be in the lineup.
Big swing and a foul tip there. It's 1-1 on Velasquez, who was 0 for 2 today. Especially when a team is struggling, when everybody's going all cylinders and the ball's flying out of the ballpark, you don't notice it very much, but it's magnified now.
Yeah, and you're looking close to scoring opportunities, and when can the Blue Jays score a run? They've got to do exceptional things to score runs. They're not hitting home runs, and the ball's not flying out of the ballpark, so you've got to do it with hustle and playing with your head up and playing good, sound, fundamental baseball. Whether you're in the field or at the plate, got to have good at bats, and everything's magnified right now. And yeah, you can overlook things early in the season, but you can't overlook them now. But then again, you could say, well, if you overlooked him in the first part of the season, then maybe you could have rectified it then, and everything would have been smooth sailing here in August.
But you and I both know conversations have been had the last few days where the word fundamentals has been said a lot. They're
effort and fundamentals. You got to give us effort, and that's all you ask.
Yeah.
3-hour ball game. And you know what, John Snyder, I think he's the right man for the job, and I think he knows what he has to do to address these things.
One, two, and Simber strikes him out. 2 down. The line on Ross Stripling for the afternoon. He goes 6 innings, gives up the 3 runs on the 2 homers. Didn't walk a batter, had struck out 6. Again, he pitched well. That's a quality start, and on most days that is certainly enough of an outing to give your team a pretty good chance to win the game, as he goes 6 or more, Buck, for the 3rd time in a row.
Yeah, and you can see the first time this season he's allowed 2 home runs in a game, and it's unfortunate that 2 unlikely home run hitters did the damage against him, Rengifo and Suzuki. But they're big league hitters, and you make a mistake and they'll hit it out of the ballpark. They just don't hit it out as often as Trout and Ohtani might.
Line to left field, and that's a base hit for Fletcher, his first of the afternoon.
His 7th in the 3 games. He had back-to-back 3-hit games on Friday and Saturday, and that's his first base hit, a 2-out single here. Well, he's got a quick bat. He's healthy now. He had that hernia surgery earlier in the season, and it just took him a while to get over it, but he's running well now. I'd keep my eye on him at first base. He might be aggressive here. 7th inning in a 2-run game, even with Trout at the plate.
Trout takes a strike. He is 0 for 3 today. A fly out, a pop up, and a strikeout. And it's 0-2.
It's really interesting when you have a side armor, or basically kind of a submarine pitcher. Generally, you think they pitch down because the ball's going to sink, everything's going to be down. But Adam Simber can pitch up. We see him do it all the time to left-handed batters, and he can elevate that fastball and the slider to right-handed hitters as well.
Trout sends one to left center field, and a diving attempt by Springer. Can't come up with it. Fletcher around third, heading home, and safe at the plate. As the throw short hop Jansen a little bit. A great effort out there by Springer, and looked like he actually had it in his glove for a moment, but couldn't make the play, and an RBI double for Trout will extend the lead.
Yeah, George had the ball in his glove when he extends and dives for this ball. A flare into center field, but the impact of the turf jarred the ball out of his glove. Look at Gurriel get on it and make a terrific throw to the plate. Jansen's got good position, but can't come up with the short hop. And there's the catch, and then it slams to the turf. The ball's knocked out of the glove. Gurriel backs up the play and made a phenomenal throw to the plate, but Jansen couldn't come up with the short hop.
Well, you got to applaud the effort. That's the kind of effort they need up and down the roster right now. Springer with a great effort to try to make the catch, but the Angels add a run. And Tim Mays is now coming into the game.
Took a mirror to the back. I was like, oh, wow. My hair's thinning. Did a search and found Hims. And asked a few medical history questions. I could do it from anywhere. There's a product out there that actually works.
Get started today at 4hims.com.
We asked retired MLB pitcher CC Sabathia to hit in Win Reality.
You get nervous? Yeah.
A VR training tool for hitters. Who is he hitting against?
Oh, here we go.
Himself.
Man, I'm good. Both of me.
Hitters see game speed pitches, improved timing, pitch recognition, and confidence in the real game.
How many MLB home runs did you have?
More than you.
Be ready for real. Win reality.
Hey, it's me. The summer breeze. I just flew back into town. Let's get outside. Much better.
Rogers Center. It's a Junior Jays Day. There will be artists, games, prizes, and more. And if you're 14 and under, you can even run the bases after the ball game. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets to get yours. There are 2 more Junior Jays Sundays coming. September the 18th against the Orioles and October the 2nd against the Red Sox. George Springer talking to Teoscar Hernandez about what happened. Again, he had it in his glove, and as you said, Buck, it was when the glove hit the turf that it jarred the ball out. And A+ for effort, and he's understandably frustrated that he couldn't hang on to it, but he did everything he could.
Well, he sure did. He left his feet at the perfect time. He had the ball in his webbing, but when that glove hit the turf, it jarred the ball out of the glove. Now Tim Mazon with a runner in scoring position to face Shohei Ohtani.
Lefty-lefty matchup here. 4-1 Angels. Trout at second. Ohtani 2 for 3 on the afternoon. And there's a fastball in for a strike. 1-1. This appears to be the first time that Ohtani has ever faced Meza, from what I can tell. Although, as we've discovered, you and I talked, Ohtani being both a pitcher and a hitter trips up some of the stat services. Sometimes you only find him as a hitter, sometimes you only find him as a pitcher. So don't trust what I just said.
I'm looking him up now. He is 0 for 2.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we know there are certain statistical services
Yeah.
that get tripped up by.
They don't include him as a hitter.
Right.
In the batter-pitcher matchups.
Yeah. 2-2.
So this is the third time that he has faced Tim Meza, and Meza has held him to an 0 for 2. Interesting. You were the one that picked up on that yesterday.
I know, and then I totally forgot it today. How we doing? I knew you were going to publicize that. Yeah.
Well, I was the one that made the stupid remark yesterday.
Now don't you feel better that I made it too?
Yeah, we're even.
Okay. Up the first baseline, but foul.
Well, I tell you what, in this situation, a 3-run deficit seems like a crater. Like the Blue Jays just can't get out of this crater. And every run seems like it's magnified, and it is.
Yeah. Well, they've stranded 7 today. They're 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They've had 5 hits and 5 walks, but 1 run. They've hit into 2 double plays, and they've had a base running mistake that, for all intents and purposes, looked like it cost them at least a run because the inning would have continued. Now Ohtani sends one to the opposite field with authority, and it will go. And the Angels hit their 3rd home run of the day and now lead 6-1.
Eight home runs for the Angels in this 3-game series. First home run for Ohtani in this series, his 28th of the season. He's got tremendous power to all parts of the field, lefty on lefty, and this pitch is away from him, but he's so strong that he muscles it out of the yard to left field. To me, that's when he's the most dangerous, is when he's hitting the ball the opposite field and back up the middle. I mean, he's got great plate coverage. You see how he stays square to the batter's box there and just uses his hands to barrel up that pitch for his home run.
What a talent. 28 home runs on the season now for Ohtani. Swing and a miss by Luis Rengifo, who turns around to bat for the right side against Mesa. Now an 0-2 count. Well, they still got 9 outs to work with here today, but staring at the real possibility of getting swept at home by the Angels in the first series of what appeared to be the quote softer part of the schedule. But you got to go out and win them on the field. This one sent to shallow center. Springer racing in to make the catch to take us to the 7th inning stretch.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made. Including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. When you order a new frame, we custom cut and polish a pair of lenses just for you. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
Nice.
What?
With the Game Time app, I'd pay 60% less than this guy.
60%?
Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price. Download Game Time now. Nice shirt.
Is the first base coach in charge of the outfielders, but also in charge of the base running, which I think is the relevance of this conversation. As Budzinski talks to Teoscar Hernandez, I think it's reasonable to assume it was about the base running play in the bottom of the 6th. What was said, of course, nobody knows, but Teoscar having another conversation with a member of the staff here this afternoon. Meanwhile, the Angels just put 3 on the board, top 7, and lead 6-1 right now. Danny Jansen a walk and a double as Jaime Barria is back out for his 2nd inning in relief for the Angels.
Yeah, Barria is something the Blue Jays don't have. That extended long man in their bullpen now with a 5-run lead. He can just stay out there. Remember, he has thrown 3 or more innings 11 times already this season. That's the most in the majors. It's not a luxury many teams have, as they have limited themselves to 1-inning pitchers, and it's rare that you see a long man down in the pen. Years ago, teams had a long lefty and a long righty, and if the starter got bumped early, they would put those guys in and let them suck up 3 or 4 innings.
After Jansen, it'll be Springer and Guerrero. Full count on Jansen. And Jansen aboard for the 3rd time today.
Good job by Danny to work for that walk. He's walked, doubled, and walked in his 3 plate appearances, and the Blue Jays are going to turn their lineup over one more time. And it's when they got to have something happen. You get to the top of the order, running out of at-bats for this part of the batting order. You got to do some damage here and close ground on the Angels.
Springer 0 for 2 with a walk. Right side wide open as they shift on him as he swings through a fastball. 0-1.
Blue Jays are trying to avoid being swept for the 4th time this season.
Ball down the left field line. Adele into the corner and has room just in fair territory to make the catch for out number 1.
Well, George had a good pass at that ball. Just got underneath it a bit. He squared it up, but had too much air underneath it. If he squares it up and lines it, it's way out of here, but he missed that one just by a fraction.
So here's Vladdy, who is 0 for 3. $44,318 here today, over 130,000 for the 3-game series. The Rays are up big on the Red Sox right now, 8-3 in the 7th inning. They're a half game ahead of the Blue Jays as play began today. Another ground ball for Guerrero to second one, and no throw to first as he reaches on a fielder's choice, 2 down.
Seattle just underway against the Guardians out in the West Coast. They're in the top of the 1st inning.
And Baltimore scoreless in the 6th inning with Houston in a game where Justin Verlander left after 3 innings. Had not given up a run, had struck out 6, but was taken out of the game. Kind of ominous news for the Astros.
Verlander was taken out of his last start after 6 innings of no-hit baseball. Well, that's probably not a good sign for Houston.
I see a report now, right calf discomfort, but enough obviously to get him out of the game. So Guerrero at first with 2 down for Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who's 0 for 3. The 2, 3, 4 hitters today, Guerrero, Gurriel, Kirk. Well, Springer's drawn a walk, but even if we include Springer, the top 4 hitters are 0 for 13 today.
In 3 games, the Blue Jays have managed just 13 hits.
And again, coming home from Boston, all the vibes were good. They had won 6 out of 7 on the road trip. But a whole different story. And they've always played well here at home, too. I mean, everything seemed to be lined up for them to have a good weekend.
The one thing they haven't done is they haven't played well against the Angels. They haven't played well against the Angels, especially in this ballpark. And Oscar and Tapia still having a conversation on the bench.
Line drive left field, and it drops, and it gets by Adele and goes to the fence. Guerrero around third on his way home. He will score into third in a slide is Gurriel, and it's 6-2.
Now that should be scored a triple. It was misplayed for sure, but it bounced past Adele, went all the way to the scoreboard in left center. And with 2 outs, Guerrero comes all the way around to score. It is his first triple of the season, and he'll pick up an RBI. The Blue Jays add a run here with 2 outs in the 7th. Two-seamer, fastball that runs in, but he's able to hit it on the barrel. Sinking liner into left field, and Adele got in between, thinking about charging it, making the play, and it gets past him, goes all the way to the scoreboard. And it is his first triple, as we mentioned. And Adele, you got to smother that ball. Once you commit to not catching it, you got to make sure it doesn't get by you.
So now Alejandro Kirk trying to make this one a little bit closer to 6-2. Kirk is 0 for 3 today. One and one. And a little bit late right there for Kirk. 1-2. His swing feels a little bigger to me, Buck, than it did when he was in that groove, just hitting line drives all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of probably playing more than he's ever played in his life, getting more at bats. He's probably worn down a little bit because Springer had the DH so much. Kirk has had to catch a little bit more than he was earlier.
Be interesting to see when the rosters expand in a few days, and it's only by 2 players. One of them will be a pitcher for sure if the other one is Gabriel Moreno, or if they go for somebody else. But never a bad idea to have a third catcher if you can carry it. Gives you more flexibility, and Moreno by all accounts has played very well since he has gone back down.
They don't have many options down in AAA of people that would warrant a call-up.
To center. Trout hardly has to move. And the inning is over. The Blue Jays get the 1 and trail 6-2 at the end of 7.
I love the Boys and Girls Clubs because they help you believe that you can make it to the big leagues.
Big leagues of what? Law. Art. Construction. Baseball.
How'd you guess?
With the help of Major League Baseball, the Boys and Girls Clubs of America help kids make it to the big leagues of anything.
For a good story,
stay away from the Rocky Mountain oysters.
Good company.
I feel like I don't look too bad in purple.
And a good sleeper pick.
Go over 4.5 strikeouts on Severino tonight.
Dig into the pregame spread only on MLB Network.
Night into Victoria. Tomorrow night they will be down in Panama as qualifying for the 2023 World Cup continues. Dwight Powell and company in Panama tomorrow, and you can catch it at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. Looks good.
About that time, isn't it?
Yeah. Trevor Richards into the game as this one moves to the 8th.
Well, Tim Mesa He faced two batters and gave up a home run to Shohei Ohtani, only second home run he surrendered to a lefty bat this year. The other came off the bat of Anthony Rizzo. Richards making his 49th appearance of the season. He's pitched very well lately. Really throwing the ball well. That changeup has always been an important pitch for him, and he's throwing it very well right now.
Mike Ford is going to lead it off for the Angels. First baseman 2 for 3. A couple of base hits to center field. Yeah, the Angels flying home after the game tonight at the end of a 10-game road trip. And they will start a series tomorrow night with the New York Yankees.
Yankees are in Oakland taking on the Athletics. And it's a long trip. Detroit, Tampa Bay, and Toronto all in one East Coast swing.
Fastball over the outside corner, 3-1.
Trevor Richards went on the IL with a neck strain back in June, and since he's come off the IL, he has had a lot of success pitching to a .225 earned run average.
Ford pops one up in the air to left field, and an easy play for Gurriel. And he's been striking out a ton of guys too since he's come back.
28 strikeouts in 19 games coming into this game. Fastball changeup for the most part. Four-seam fastball upstairs and a very effective changeup.
The on slider to a right-handed batter, and there was one there, down and away, ball one to Joe Adell. Interesting to keep an eye on this guy. We talked about him, former first-round pick, a lot of talent. 3 years up and down between AAA and the big league, shows glimpses of the ability, but never much of an average. A lot of strikeouts. But they're obviously giving him a chance. They're out of it this year. May as well see everything they can see in this guy.
Yeah, you want as much information as possible before you really make a concrete decision on a young talent like Adell. And he is still young, and there's plenty of room for him to develop. He's got the skills, good skill set. He's just 23 years old. He played the whole season at 23.
And this ground ball will find a hole, get into left field for a base hit. The homestand will continue, as we've told you, tomorrow night with 3 against the Cubs. Then after an off day, it's off to Pittsburgh for 3. And then that road trip continues with 4 against the Orioles. That is a Labor Day doubleheader because of a rainout a few weeks ago. And then another off day, and then that road trip ends in Texas. So it is a long 3-city, 10-game road trip, starting with the Pirates on Friday.
Yeah, and you know what? It's difficult, but you can't look ahead. You got to try to focus on this game, finish it out, and then get refocused with the Cubs coming to town.
Magneuris Sierra on to pinch run. As the fly ball is lifted to center field, the catch is made. The runner goes halfway and then comes back as Aguilar flies out, 2 down.
Well, and that's textbook right there, because he went halfway after tagging up to watch the throw from Springer in center field. Aguilar hit a fly ball to relatively deep center field, but Sierra went back and tagged up. Watch how he reacts here. It's going to be caught. Okay, he's going to catch it. Now, I'm going to watch the flight of the ball. If it's offline, I can advance, and if it's online, I just hustle back to first. Nothing for granted. Don't take anything for granted, and try to take advantage of this opportunity as a pinch runner.
So 2 down now for Kurt Suzuki, the catcher, who has one of the 3 home runs the Angels have hit today. A solo shot back in the 4th, his 4th of the season. Guerrero coming over to the seats, but it's well back out of play. Pitcher's the fourth pitcher of the afternoon for the Blue Jays after Stripling, Simber, and Mesa. And there for a strike, 1-2.
Blue Jays will have Bichette, Hernandez, and Chapman batting the bottom of the 8th inning, and they still trail by 4. They managed just 6 hits against 11 for the Angels.
Runner goes. Pitch down and away. Jansen throw. And not in time. A stolen base for Sierra.
Then he made a nice play there as that ball was down and away, and he was patient enough as Sierra picks up the stolen base, his 5th of the season. Only been caught once. But the pitch was down and away, and Danny has to reach for it, but he's still patient enough to make a strong throw. It just happens to be on the shortstop side of the bag, and Sierra got a good jump. Danny didn't have much of a chance to throw him out.
Ground ball to short. Bichette has it and throws out Suzuki, but no, the ball gets away from Guerrero and a run comes in to score.
Boy, oh boy, there's going to have to be an awful lot of looking in the mirror here, as that ball appeared to be a routine out to end the inning, but on the air charge to Guerrero, another run comes in to score, and it just continues to be sloppy baseball by the Blue Jays. I mean, this should get out of the inning. Bo's throw across the diamond, no problem, but Vladdy can't come up with it. Just a lack of concentration.
And an error on Guerrero. What do you do, Buck? What are the conversations like with between the coach? Let's start with the coaches when they sit down, and undoubtedly they will after the game, just as a group amongst themselves. What are they?
Yeah, you got to have a meeting tomorrow and say, boys, enough is enough. And if you don't have enough pride to dig down deep and try to overcome these mistakes, and they're just focused mistakes. They're just mistakes by base running. We saw with Teoscar, Vladdy not catching that ball. I mean, that's a routine play. Caught it 100 times this year, and he'll catch every one of them. But right there, it's just a focus thing. You got to stay focused, man. These are big games, and every play is important. And it wouldn't be a bad time to say, you know what, fellas, we got to talk things over.
So you're good at hitting home runs, right?
I've never hit a home run in my life, but I've gotten close.
Oh, let's go. Let's try it out.
We're not leaving until I get a home run.
Oh! Jojo, you're so good. You're so young and you've done so much. What's your secret?
I think I just really love life, so I just pick my right foot up and then keep going.
Come on! Ah! That went over, right? It went over!
Freaking love baseball.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson, 13 home runs into the left field stand. Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time. I don't believe what I just saw. Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza! The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome. That ball is gone. 106. That would be a new record. It is caught. Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Cubs tomorrow night. Blue Jays Central comes your way at 6:30 Eastern. First pitch at 7, promptly at 7:07. As the Blue Jays hopefully will come out playing a little bit better against the Cubs tomorrow night than they have shown thus far against the Angels this weekend, as former Blue Jay Jesse Chavez comes into the game.
Chavez pitching for his second time in this series. He worked an inning on Friday night and a couple of strikeouts, retired the side in order in that 12-0 shutout.
Sierra stays in the game and left after running for Adele. Bob has shed a base hit and a couple of walks today.
You know, Dan, you asked what a manager can do in a situation like this, and, you know, the players know they aren't playing up to their capabilities. There's no getting around it. I mean, everybody knows. You know what you're doing on the field. You know that you're not hustling. You're not focused. You let balls get away that should be caught. And you know what? It's embarrassing for the team, for the player, for the individual. And John Schneider, I'm sure he's addressed some of these issues already since he's taken over as the manager.
Bichette bounces one through the right side for another base hit.
But you know what? You get 40,000 fans out here for a 3-game series, a weekend series, and you just got to give them a good effort. And when you don't, it doesn't reflect well on the entire team. And I think John is the man to say, hey, fellas, this is unacceptable. And I don't know what it takes for you to understand the significance of these games right now, but we're running out of time, and we're supposed to be a postseason team. We're supposed to be a team that gets into the postseason. We've got all the talent in the world, and it's just a lack of concentration right now that's costing us these games.
Teoscar Hernandez is the batter. Teoscar today 1 for 2 with a walk, and I'm sure one of the questions that will be asked of John Schneider after the game is about Teoscar in general. How much is the foot? Was it the foot? Was it not the foot on the base running play? Clearly he's not 100%. I think we saw that before when he was on the bases, but I think there will be a lot of interesting questions asked about the game, about a lot of different moments in this game and a lot of different plays that were made by a lot of different players.
This is not unlike the Cleveland Guardians series, when the Guardians came in here and played so well against the Blue Jays, and they did everything you want to do on a baseball field. They out-hustled the Blue Jays. They out-contacted them. They made a lot of contact. They played hit and run. They played good defense. They got good pitching. I mean, this is a grind every single day, and you're playing major league teams. I don't care. Major league teams don't look at their record every single day. And if you're a good major leaguer, you discount what you've done prior to that game at hand. And you say, okay, I got to give everything I got today. And I think that's the one problem with the game today, is there's not enough competition up and down. There's not enough talent in the game right now where players feel secure in their position and they're, oh, I'm fine, you know, nobody's going to take my job. Well, I played 17 years because I was petrified somebody was going to take my job, because there was a lot of talent in the organizations. Now, I mean, baseball, just think about it, there's only 4 minor league teams. So how much talent can there be?
The Angels will turn one, but not both, as Hernandez reaches on the fielder's choice. Well, John Schneider used the word urgency on a number of occasions. This probably goes back a week or 10 days. And he was right. And if there was urgency 10 days ago, what do you call it now?
Yeah, it's time to push the urgent button, that's for sure. And, you know, you got the Cubs coming in, then you go to Pittsburgh, but then things get a little more interesting in September. Got a 4-game series in 3 days against Baltimore, and the Orioles are playing great baseball right now. They did not read the preseason predictions.
Matt Chapman is 2 for 3, including an RBI double in the 4th. David Phelps looks like he's going to be next.
You know, when things are going well, we always talk about chemistry. Well, these guys grew up together. They care about one another. Well, things are going bad, and this is when you should care about each other, too. Say, hey, you're letting us down, man. And we have played together for years. We've been through tough times. We've won championships together in the minor leagues, and we need to pull up our socks, tighten up your belt, and come out with a better effort.
Is there a difference between the message coming from the manager or the coaches versus the message coming from the player leaders in the clubhouse?
Yeah, it's a much more important message when it comes from the players. But then again, there aren't that many, and I'll say this, being around the game for over 50 years, there aren't that many true leaders who want to step up on a daily basis, as we saw yesterday with Dave Winfield and what he did to this team in '92. When he joined the team and took a leadership role the first year he got here because of who he was and where he was in his career. And you know what? They picked up Jack Morris, who was coming off that great effort in the '91 World Series, and he brought swagger to the team immediately.
Kevin Biggio is batting for Whit Merrifield.
I mean, you've got guys like Merrifield who've been to World Series, and they know what it takes, and they know how challenging this time of the year can be. And, you know, he's probably thinking, well, I haven't been here long enough to really speak my mind, and some of that's true. When you join a team, like I joined the team in May of '81, and you just want to fit in first. That's what you do. You come about, you go about your business, you let your teammates recognize who you are as a player, and then as you gain some credence, then you feel like, okay, now I can take a leadership role. But this is what I'm talking about right here. These two kids grew up together. I mean, they probably know each other better than any two teammates on the team. And they've got to have hard conversations and remind each other, hey, man, this is not who we are. And we've got to play better than this. And you know what? It's going to take the players themselves to turn things around. I mean, you can hear all the managers. And manager has a different role in this game today than he did 15, 20 years ago. There's no question about it. He doesn't have as much single-handed authority, autonomy. I can think back to Bobby Cox taking Andrew Jones off the field, Whitey Herzog taking Gary Templeton off the field in the middle of the game, Billy Martin taking Reggie Jackson out of a game in Fenway Park. Managers had total power then. They had say in the rosters. They had say in moving players up and down in the minor leagues. It's not that way anymore. The front office runs the team now, universally.
And line to first by Biggio. Ford makes the catch. And it's on to the ninth.
Line drive caught by Lindor. That one's going to be replayed hundreds of times. Big fly, Ohtani-san.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Gives them what they came to see.
Join Kevin Millar and Steven Nelson on a quest for legends worthy of the sacred prize. It's unpredictable coverage that will have you on the edge of your seat. Join the adventure on Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
Presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. I don't know who that young baseball fan is, and I don't know where that is.
It's a great shot.
But it's a great shot.
Absolutely great shot.
Great shot.
You know, and we were talking about this today. Some of the coaches and I are down on the field, and there was no batting practice. Everything was pretty relaxed, and the roof had just opened up. And it's a spectacular day, and it's a Sunday morning, and we're standing there thinking, man, are we lucky, huh? To have a job like this in this atmosphere, day after day, being around the greatest players in the world. And you just hope that the players realize how fortunate they are to be in this situation.
David Phelps on for the top of the 9. The Angels 7 and the Blue Jays 2. Phelps, the 5th pitcher of the afternoon, and making his 53rd appearance of the season. He gets the top of the order: Fletcher, Trout, and Ohtani. Kevin Biggio stays in the game at second base. Fletcher 1 for 4 today, 7 for 14 in the series.
You know who he reminds me of? A player that played for them when I was managing.
Are you going to drop a David Eckstein on me?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Same type of player. That's pretty good, Dan. That's a long time ago. Yeah, no, David Eckstein, same type of player. You know, same stature, same competitive at bats. Tries to put the bat on the ball, but this time Phelps strikes him out on a good breaking ball.
I've told this story before, maybe with you. I asked David Eckstein once, "What's your game plan in the box?" And he goes, "Simple. Make the pitcher throw another pitch. Just get to the next pitch." And he knew what he was, he knew what he wasn't, and he just tried to find some way, somehow, to extend the at bat and get on base any way he could, so that the big boppers behind him would have a chance to drive a run.
Yeah, I hate that guy. He hit 2 grand slams against me when I was managing.
Really?
Yeah. Probably his only 2 of his career. But his brother, Rick Eckstein, was my hitting coach, WBC. He was on the coaching staff for that team as well. Great baseball family. David got more out of his ability than many people.
Yeah.
He was terrific.
Fouled back by Trout. You know who reminds me a little bit of David Eckstein? Santiago Espinal.
Good point.
Getting a lot of stuff out of his ability, fouling off pitches, extending at bats. He's the guy that after the series, the guys on the other team say, "Boy, he's a nudge. I didn't realize how pesky he is."
Yeah, he's a very, very good fielder. He might have the best hands on the team consistently day in and day out. He and Chapman, of course, terrific defenders. But Santi, you could put him anywhere, and he's going to give everything he's got. He waited a long time for the opportunity.
Trout hits one to deep center. And gone up into the batter's eye. Second home run of the series for Trout, 28th on the season.
Just didn't get that fastball up high enough, and he stayed on it. He had gotten a steady diet of fastballs all afternoon. He hit that little flare double into center field in the 7th inning that George Springer corralled, but couldn't hold on to it for the final out. And this pitch, you can see it's down around his knees, and he's a terrific low ball hitter and stays on it, and he's got power to hit it out anywhere. But he had gotten a steady diet of fastballs, and that time that fastball wasn't quite high enough. What a compact swing, and you can see he knows he's got enough of it to hit it out, even to straightaway center field. Home run number 28. He and Ohtani both have hit their 28th home run here this afternoon.
And Ohtani is 3 for 4 on the day. So the Blue Jays held Trout and Ohtani down pretty well the first 2 games. Each had just 1 hit in the first 2 games. But not today. Today they are between them 5 for 9 with a double and a couple of homers. And low for ball 4. The Rays are now up 12-4 on the Red Sox in the 8th inning, so it looks like the Blue Jays will be a game and a half behind them at the end of play today. Baltimore still scoreless, bottom of the 7th in Houston, as the Orioles playing the Astros tough yet again.
Boy, the Orioles are getting great pitching right now, and we had mentioned that they had beaten the Astros 5 straight games, including the first 2 of this 3-game series.
Rengifo hits one up the middle and into center for a base hit. Stopping at second, Ohtani.
Second hit of the afternoon for Rengifo. He hit the 2-run home run in the 3rd inning to right field. That was off Ross Stripling, and then he singled right back up the middle. Phelps had to jump out of the way of that hot shot back to the mound. Mentioned Tampa Bay, 12 runs on 17 hits. They've had a 3-run inning and a 4-run inning this afternoon. Isaac Paredes has hit 2 home runs, both off Nick Pivetta. Corey Kluber gave up 3 runs on 8 hits over 6 innings. He's out of the ball game.
At the moment, kind of looks like 4 teams for 3 spots, although the Twins are just 4 games back of the Blue Jays and the Mariners. But even if it's just the 4, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Seattle, and Baltimore, only 3 spots available between them. Well, they don't want Phelps to throw too many pitches, so Yusei Kikuchi is now getting up in the pen.
Yusei pitched on Friday night. Had 6 strikeouts in 3 innings of work.
Chapman racing over to the seats, but does not have a play. And the Angels pen is busy as well. Gerardo Reyes is throwing. Yankees are down early in their game to Oakland. They were beaten by the A's last night, and they're down 2-0 in the second. Clark Schmidt into Nestor Cortez's spot in the rotation.
Stephen Vogt hit the home run last night late in the ball game.
Up with it, Phelps. Only play is to first. Runners advance, 2 down.
Vogt has an RBI already. The Oakland A's scored 2 runs in the 1st inning.
And now Magneuris Sierra, who came on as a pinch runner for Joe Adell an inning ago, will get his first at bat of the afternoon. Cubs are in Milwaukee, the next team in here to play the Blue Jays, starting with a series tomorrow night. Cubs are trailing 7-4 against the Brewers.
Milwaukee looked like they had a pretty good grip on a wild card position, but they have slipped out of the picture a bit right now. They're 2.5 back of San Diego for the 3rd spot. Atlanta has a 9-game lead in the wild card. 6.5 over Philadelphia, 9 over San Diego.
The Cubs having a rough year, but they've actually been better the last 6-7 weeks than they were earlier in the season. The Cubs, they buried themselves early, but they're
got some players up now, younger guys trying to make a spot for next year.
And they got a Canadian on the roster, Rowan Wick from North Vancouver. Two and 2 on Sierra. Pete Walker giving word to the bullpen about what the situation would be in order to necessitate a pitching change.
And number of pitches is obviously a concern. That was the 24th pitch for Phelps this inning.
Well, they will have a fresh Anthony Bass and Jimmy Garcia tomorrow night, and an extremely well-rested Jordan Romano. We have not seen much of Jordan Romano recently, unfortunately. Not through any doing of his own, obviously, but didn't pitch at all in this series.
Yeah, he had a 2-inning outing in Boston and wrapped that up. It'll be Barrios, Gosman, and Mitch White for the Blue Jays in the 3-game series against the Cubs.
And that's high ball 4 to load the bases. And let's see if, yeah, it is. Here comes John Schneider, so they don't want Phelps to go any deeper. And unfortunately, Phelps can't get through the inning, so that'll bring Yusei Kikuchi into the game here with the bases loaded and 2 down.
Ryan Aguilar, left-handed hitting right fielder, into the game, so Kikuchi will try to close things out here in the top of the 9th.
Inside jokes.
Hey, look, it's Mike Napafanakis.
To insiders' perspectives.
I like over 5.5 strikeouts on Walker Buehler.
Your best bet is the pregame spread. Served up only on MLB Network.
Kikuchi into the game for the Blue Jays.
We mentioned Kikuchi pitched 3 innings on Friday night. He gave up 3 earned runs on 3 hits, a couple of home runs surrendered, but he had 6 strikeouts, and there were some pitches that were encouraging for Kikuchi, trying to get sorted out as he works his way back, working down in the bullpen now. But the command has been an issue, but boy, he threw some quality pitches, especially the sliders he threw on Friday night. He got some big strikeouts. He struck out some right-handers with the slider. Got Mike Trout to strike out, but then Trout hit a 2-run home run off of him on a slider that was up and out over the plate.
So Ryan Aguilar comes up 1 for 4 on the afternoon. He's picked up his first 2 major league hits here this weekend. Kikuchi's first pitch is popped back out of play over the third base dugout and juggled by about 4 fans before somebody finally corrals it.
You know, Ben, baseball over the last couple of years has kind of embraced gambling, and they have had a lot of partnerships now with gambling sites. And man, oh man, I got to tell you, you got to be careful betting on baseball.
You never know.
You never know.
The team coming home, having won 6 out of 7 and being in contention.
New York and Boston.
New York and Boston.
Yeah.
Against the team at the end of a long road trip that had lost 6 in a row.
that hadn't scored at all.
Yeah. Outside, 2-2. Bounced foul by Aguilar. We talked a little bit about the other teams in the wild card race and how they are doing today. Again, Tampa Bay is up big right now on Boston. Looks like they'll move a game and a half ahead of the Blue Jays. Houston has broken the ice down there. It is 2-0 over Baltimore. The Orioles currently a game and a half back of the Blue Jays, and Seattle in a virtual tie with the Blue Jays. Scoreless bottom two with the Guardians. Yuli Gurriel with a couple of RBIs to put the Astros up 2-0. That was in the 7th inning. That's where they stand now, 2-0 Houston. And Kikuchi strikes out Aguilar. Angels 8, Blue Jays 2, going to the bottom of the 9th.
Our celebrity guests smack balls and gain points for hits. Co-starring in the new series, A League of Their Own. Darcy Carden!
You do that again.
Channel your inner McGuire.
Let's do this.
Oh! I saw that ball disintegrate. This is a bash.
So now we're Bash Brothers.
All right, yeah. Favorite baseball snack?
Like a nice little helmet full of tzatziki. Tasty. I love you. This has been the best day of my life.
From getting swept here by the Angels. It is 8-2 for the Angels going to the bottom of the 9th. Phil Nevin's team about to get on the plane, head back to Southern California, get ready for a series with the Yankees starting tomorrow night. But first, he sends right-hander Gerardo Reyes in looking for the last 3 outs.
Reyes pitched the 8th inning on Friday night. You can see his numbers in AAA, 38 games. Very good opponent's batting average at .210 in the Pacific Coast League. That's an impressive number. On Friday night, he gave up a hit, walked a couple batters, but didn't give up a run. He walked the first batter he faced in the 8th inning, Alejandro Kirk. So he's going to try to close things out here.
And Danny Jansen is going to lead it off. Jansen's been on a base all 3 times today. He has walked twice and doubled. Bo Bichette has been on base 4 times today, 2 hits and 2 walks. Matt Chapman in the number 7 spot, a couple of hits and an RBI. The bottom of the order has done some nice work today. Jansen, Springer, and Guerrero scheduled here bottom 9. But overall, as it stands right now, just 2 runs on 15 hits over 3 days in this series for the Blue Jays without a home run. Stares at 98, swung on and missed, 1-2. Back our way and just above Buck into the, I don't know if it hit the facing of the fifth deck or if somebody dropped it, but just dropped right in front of you down to the second deck.
Right down. I can't remember the last time a ball came up here.
No, it's hard here.
Yeah, it's really kind of like a pillbox. So you got to hit a perfect shot to get back in here.
Popped up back of second, and in shallow left center, Velasquez is there for the first out.
I tell you what, the Angels defensively have played good in this series. Velasquez has made some fine defensive plays. They turned a couple of double plays today, both Fletcher and Velasquez involved in that. Fletcher has had a good series overall in the field and at the plate. He is looking healthy now, as he had that sports hernia surgery early in the season. Renjifo's had a good game in the field and at the plate. They had a good series as well. They didn't look like a team that had lost 6 in a row.
No, not at all. Here's George Springer, 0 for 3 with a walk. Pretty good weekend for Shohei Ohtani. Pitched brilliantly yesterday. Springer with a fly ball towards the left field corner. Sierra back on it, and it is gone. That is a home run for George Springer, number 19 on the season.
Springer just missed hitting a home run back in the 7th inning on a very similar fly ball. This one had a little more distance to it. Obviously, it looked like it hit the foul netting high above the left field fence, and he is able to connect for his 19th home run of the season. Not one that you really want to celebrate, and it looks like the Angels are going to challenge whether or not that was a fair ball.
Well, Phil Nevin is asking for the crew chief, Jim Reynolds, who's the first base umpire. Interesting little side note. Looks like they might challenge this.
Los Angeles is challenging the call of home run.
Interesting little side note that probably means nothing, but no home run jacket today, and that's probably appropriate given the way things have gone. Right?
Yeah, that one needs to go in the freezer for a while. Nothing to celebrate when you hit a home run in a lopsided loss like this. I don't know if we had a real good angle of where that ball hit, but it looked like it hit the netting. Question is whether it did indeed hit the netting. If it hit the netting above the fence, obviously it's a home run. I think part of the renovation of the stadium, there's a look at it right there. It
looks
certainly,
like a home run.
Yeah, disappeared beyond the fence. But the rumor is they're going to have real foul poles here when they finish renovations.
Yeah.
Something that has never been the case here at Rogers Center. That's a home run. From that angle, it certainly looks like it is fair. And it goes between the netting and
hit the netting.
the foul pole. Yeah,
Hit like the netting and drop down.
Yeah. Taking a long time.
After review, the call is confirmed. It is a home run. That was a crew chief review. Los Angeles retains their challenge.
So it is 8-3. And now the batter will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. First pitch swinging, he's popped it up. Ford with lots of room in foul territory, 2 down. Well, you know what? You can't fault Springer's effort at all today. I mean, good swing and the home run and all that, but thinking back to the catch, I called it a catch. Yeah. Thinking back to that near catch that he made. I mean, that's the kind of effort they need top to bottom of the roster.
And you know what? That effort is dependent on your approach day in and day out. It doesn't make any difference what the score is, what inning it is. You play it one way, and George has always done that, and that's why he bangs himself up an awful lot, hitting in the fences, diving for balls, and he's always played one way. Get on the field and you give it your best. And you can't determine the outcome of a game. You can only determine the things that you can control, and you can control effort. That's for sure.
Gurriel with a base hit into center field. His second hit of the afternoon.
I think the one question that you always ask yourself as a player after a game, win or lose, did I do everything I could do to help my team win? And if you say yes to that, then you have no concerns.
Well, it's interesting the way you phrase that. It's not somebody else asking, did you do everything? Yeah. It's you asking yourself,
exactly.
Did I do everything?
Yeah. Did you do everything? You just ask yourself that. And if you're satisfied with the answer, then you have no issues. Go about, have a nice dinner, and get ready for tomorrow. But then if you take pause and has a hesitation to think, I wonder if I gave the best effort, and you've got some problems.
Alejandro Kirk 0 for 4. Runner goes, and the Angels will concede the bag. And a called strike as Gurriel takes second on defensive indifference. They'll be looking for a big one from Jose Barrios tomorrow when the Cubs come to town. But more than anything, more than that, I think they'll be looking for some good, clean baseball. And for the offense, hopefully, to take it back to the level that everybody knows they're capable of.
Well, it was interesting. We saw yesterday the Angels took infield. And we haven't seen that very often this year, where they took a full infield, throwing it around, throwing the bases, throwing to home. And that was yesterday afternoon before the game. And I asked some of the coaches about it. I said, yeah, we try to emphasize that a lot. I mean, it used to be a tradition every single day. Every team took infield. Visiting team, road team. That's how you got ready for the game. Not part of the game anymore.
Taken high, a full count on Kirk. Bichette next if Kirk gets aboard. Coming right at him, and why not with a 5-run lead? Kirk keeps fouling him off. Ball 4, so it's not quite over yet.
Well, Bo Bichette's had a pretty productive day at the plate. 2 walks, scored a run, a couple of singles. He's officially 2 for 2 in his 4 plate appearances. Pitching coach Matt Wise out to talk to his young right-hander.
Phil Nevin is getting Jose Quijada up just in case. 8-3, 2 on, 2 out. And here comes Bichette, 2 for 2 with a couple of walks. And in there at 96, it's 0-1. Outside. Bichette thought it was outside, and it is 0-2. And a grounder to second, and that will do it. The Blue Jays get a run on the Springer homer, but lose 8-3 and get swept here at home by the Angels over the weekend.
Yeah, a very tough series, and like we said at the top of this series, you can't take any major league club lightly, and the Blue Jays saw a good effort on Friday night from Reed Detmers, their lefty starter. Ohtani was great in his outing yesterday. Trout and Ohtani finally got things going with the bats here this afternoon, and the Blue Jays lose 3 games to the Angels, and it's been a long time since the Blue Jays have won a series here at home against the Angels.
Interesting to see how they come out tomorrow night when the Cubs come to town. We will have it for you, and we hope you can join us here on Sportsnet. But for right now, it's Blue Jays Central with Jamie and Joe.